They say power isolates, control destroys, but sometimes, the most dangerous man alive learns his greatest lesson from the woman who has nothing left to lose. This is a story about survival and what it costs when you finally choose to be human. Before we begin, subscribe and comment where you're watching from. This story will challenge everything you think you know about power, survival, and what it means to save someone. Let's begin. Chapter 1. Beneath the Busan docks, in a clinic that doesn't officially exist, a man coughs blood into a porcelain sink. Chang-min Lee doesn't flinch. He wipes his mouth with clinical precision, buttons his collar, and returns to the call. Execute the contract. Liquidate the northern routes. No survivors. His voice never wavers. On the phone, they'll never know he's dying. Dr. An Myung-suk sets down a file. 15 hospitals, 23 specialists, all failed. Your immune system is attacking your vascular walls. The autoimmune cascade from that transfusion 7 years ago, it's accelerating. Chang Min's expression remains stone. How long? 6 weeks. Maybe less. Outside the sealed room, his consigliere Kwon Seorion listens through the door. Her hand drifts to her phone. She begins drafting succession protocols. Dr. An pulls up an encrypted medical database. Interpol trafficking survivor records. Blood profiles. Thousands of entries. There's a match. A compatibility so rare, it shouldn't exist. Chang Min leans forward. One donor. Female. Undocumented. Last known location. Busan Industrial Shoreline. The file is stamped. Trafficking survivor. Sealed. Name. Janelle Edwards. She doesn't just donate blood, Dr. An continues. You need continuous microtransfusions, daily, administered through an implanted port. If she leaves, I die. Yes. Chang Min stares at the photograph of a young woman scavenging near shipping containers. Find her. Dr. An hesitates. Chang Min, this woman will become a prisoner. You understand that? For the first time, Chang Min's mask cracks, just slightly. I've spent 20 years learning one truth, doctor. Nothing kills faster than what you hide. I've hidden weakness my entire life. Now it's killing me. He closes the file. Let's see if dependency is any different than control. Across the city, near the industrial piers, where shipping containers rust and shadows stretch long, Janelle Edwards sleeps under a tarp. She doesn't dream anymore. Dreams are for people with futures. 3 black SUVs pull up near the encampment at dawn. Men in medical uniforms step out. They're offering free health screenings for the homeless. Vaccines, blood tests, cash payments. Janelle watches from behind a rusted crane. She's survived this long by trusting her instincts. But her father needs medicine. The hospital turned him away again. She steps forward. Inside the mobile clinic, a man in a white coat barely glances at her. Name? Janelle Edwards. Janelle Edwards. Identification? I don't have any. He waves her away. Next. She grabs his wrist. Please. I heard you pay for blood tests. I need the money. The man's expression hardens. We're looking for specific medical profiles. You're not. How do you know if you don't test me? Something in her voice makes him pause. Desperation, but also defiance. He sighs. Fine. 1 vial. That's it. The blood sample is logged, processed, flagged. Within 15 minutes, Dr. An receives an alert on her encrypted device. Match confirmed. Compatibility 98.7%. She calls Chang Min immediately. We found her. That night, Janelle walks through the darkened industrial district. She's counting the money from the blood test. 50,000. Barely enough for 1 week of her father's medication. 3 men step from the shadows. Hey, sweetheart, you look lost. She backs away. I'm going home. Where's home? We'll give you a ride. One grabs her arm. She twists free, but there are 3 of them. Don't touch me. A hand clamps over her mouth. Then, a sound. Sharp, final. The man holding her drops. The other 2 turn and freeze. Chang Min Lee stands 10 feet away, alone, unarmed, but the air around him changes. Let her go. The men don't recognize him. A mistake they'll regret. Who the hell are you? Walk away, old man. Changmin's hand moves. Not fast, not showy, just absolute. The first man's knee bends backward. The sound echoes like a branch snapping. The second runs. He makes it 6 steps. Changmin doesn't watch them fall. His eyes stay on Janelle. Cover your ears. She does. The gunshot is muffled, professional. Somewhere in the dark, a body collapses. Changmin approaches. His breathing is labored. Sweat beads on his temple. Then his body seizes. He staggers, knees buckling. The venom is surging again. Janelle rushes forward on instinct. What's wrong? Are you? Her hand touches his. Just contact, just proximity. And something shifts. The convulsions slow. His breathing steadies. The pain recedes. He looks at her with something beyond surprise. She actually works. What's your name? Janelle. Janelle Edwards. Janelle Edwards. He says it like a diagnosis. Come with me. In the car, Changmin's men surround them. Janelle sits rigid, hands clenched. Where are you taking me? Changmin doesn't answer immediately. He's watching her, calculating. How much do you need? What? You took that blood test for money. How much do you need? She hesitates. My father. He's sick. The hospital, they need 800,000 for treatment. I'll give you 100 million. The number doesn't register at first. Then it does. What? Why would you? To save my life. I'm not a doctor. You don't need to be. The car pulls up to a guarded estate. Gates open automatically. Security everywhere. Who are you? Someone who's been dead for 6 weeks. You're going to change that. In Changmin's private study, Dr. An briefs Kwan Seoryeon and the senior physician, Dr. Ilhwa Seondok. The girl's blood suppresses his autoimmune response. It's unprecedented. But the treatment protocol requires daily transfusions, continuous proximity. Kwan's expression is unreadable. So she becomes, what? A permanent donor? A live-in medical necessity. And when he no longer needs her? Dr. An doesn't answer. Kwan understands. She always does. How long does she have? If the transfusions continue at the required rate? 6 months. Maybe a year. Her bone marrow will deplete. So Changmin lives, she dies. That's the trade. Kwan nods slowly. Does she know? No. Good. Keep it that way. Janelle wakes in a room 3 times the size of anywhere she's ever slept. A woman in a medical uniform enters. Good morning. I'm Nurse Yunhui Dalnim. I'll be overseeing your care during your stay. My stay? How long am I? Mr. Lee will explain everything. But first, we need to perform a medical evaluation. I already gave blood. This is different. 2 days later, Janelle wakes in a recovery room. There's a small bandage on her inner forearm. A catheter port. Permanent. Dr. An enters. The implant will allow us to perform microtransfusions without repeated needle sticks. It's safer for you. Safer? What are you talking about? Mr. Lee's condition requires continuous treatment. You're the only compatible donor we've found. You'll need to remain here during the treatment protocol. For how long? Dr. An hesitates. As long as necessary. In the hallway, 2 junior syndicate members whisper. She doesn't know she's dying, does she? Why would they tell her? Boss needs her alive for now. And after? After doesn't matter. She's nobody. Undocumented, invisible. No one will even know she was here. Janelle, passing by, freezes. The words sink in slowly. Dying? That night, Changmin calls her to his private quarters. The room is dimly lit. Sterile medical equipment sits beside a large bed. Sit. She doesn't move. What did they mean? That I'm dying? Changmin's face hardens. Who told you that? No one had to tell me. I heard them talking. For a long moment, silence. Then Changmin speaks. His voice is low, controlled, honest. Yes. The word lands like a blade. The transfusions that save me will eventually kill you. Her breath catches. And you knew this. Yes. From the beginning. Yes. She stands. Then, I'm leaving. You can't. Watch me. She moves toward the door. It's locked. She spins. Open it. No. You're keeping me prisoner. I'm keeping you alive. By killing me? By giving you time. His voice rises now, sharp and raw. Outside, you have nothing. No papers, no protection. The same men who nearly took you 3 nights ago? They're everywhere. Here, you're safe. You have medical care, money for your father. Blood money, better than no money at all. They stare at each other. 2 people trapped in the same cage. Janelle's voice drops to a whisper. You're a monster. I know. Late that night, Janelle searches the study. She finds medical files, reports, projections. Donor survival estimate, 6 to 12 months. Marrow depletion timeline. Irreversible after 8 months. Recommendation. Secure secondary donor before primary failure. She reads the words again. And again. Primary failure. That's what she is. A resource. A battery. The next morning, she confronts him in the medical suite. I want to leave. Chang Min, mid-transfusion, looks up. The IV line connects them both. No. This is slavery. This is survival. Yours, not mine. Yours too. I transferred 100 million to your father's hospital account this morning. He's receiving treatment, the best doctors, private care. She falters. You did that? You think I'd let you watch him die when I can prevent it? Why? He meets her eyes. For the first time, she sees something beneath the control. Something human. Because I know what it's like to watch someone you love disappear. She doesn't respond. Can't respond. Chang Min's voice softens. Just barely. 6 months, Janelle. Give me 6 months. I'll find another way. Another solution. You won't die here. You promise? He doesn't answer. Because they both know, in his world, promises mean nothing. As Janelle returns to her room, she stares at her reflection. She remembers her father's words from years ago, before everything fell apart. Janelle, the most dangerous trap isn't the one that holds you. It's the one that makes you want to stay. Now, she understands. Chang Min didn't just imprison her body. He bought her loyalty. And that's the cruelest cage of all. But to understand how Chang Min Lee became a man who would trade a life for his own, we must go back, 20 years earlier. To the night he learned the only rule that ever mattered. Nothing kills a man faster than what he hides inside. This is just the beginning. Janelle has 6 months. Chang Min has 1 chance to find a cure. And someone in his organization wants her dead. Comment below. Would you have taken the money? Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Chapter 2. 3 weeks earlier, Janelle Edwards learned survival from the ocean. Not the romantic version tourists photograph at sunset, the real ocean. The one that swallows ships, erases footprints, and keeps secrets better than any grave. She'd learned to move like the tide, predictable enough to avoid suspicion, fluid enough to disappear when necessary. Dawn at Busan's industrial shoreline came in shades of rust and diesel smoke. Janelle navigated the maze of shipping containers with practiced efficiency, her canvas bag slung across her shoulder. The early morning shift change at the ports meant discarded lunches, forgotten tools, sometimes cash dropped by drunken dock workers stumbling home. She wasn't alone in this economy of scraps. Janelle, over here. An old woman named Sunja Hainim waved from behind a corrugated metal fence. 73 years old, 4 missing teeth, and sharper than most corporate executives. She controlled the northern scavenging routes with an iron fist wrapped in grandmotherly smiles. Good morning, Hainemsi. You're late. The Portuguese freighter crew already dumped their bins. I had to check on my father. Sunja's expression softened. Just barely. How is he? Alive. For now. That was all either of them needed to say. In their world, alive was the only status that mattered. Sunja handed her a crumpled envelope. 15,000. From yesterday's haul, your share. Janelle counted it quickly. Habit. Trust was expensive. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the idiot who threw away a perfectly good phone charger. Sunja lit a cigarette, her eyes scanning the industrial sprawl. You hear about the medical vans? What medical vans? Black SUVs. Official looking. They've been coming around the camps, offering free health checks, blood tests, paying $50,000 per person. Janelle's instincts fired warning signals. Since when does anyone give us anything for free? That's what I said, but people are desperate. Minho Taeguk took his whole family yesterday, said the money bought 3 weeks of insulin for his daughter. Janelle filed the information away. 50,000 was more than she could scavenge in a month. Her father needed medication the hospital wouldn't provide without upfront payment. Where are they set up? Pier 7, the old customs building. Sunja studied her. Don't do anything stupid, girl. Stupid is all I've got left. Sunja didn't laugh. No. Stupid is what gets you disappeared. Smart is what keeps you breathing. Janelle's memories of the ship came in fragments. Deliberate fragments. The mind protects itself by forgetting the unforgivable. She remembered. 16 years old. Kingston, Jamaica. A man with kind eyes offering restaurant work in South Korea. Good pay, safe housing, a chance to send money home. She remembered. The ship's hold. 37 girls. No windows. The smell of vomit and fear. She remembered the night she jumped, somewhere between international waters and Busan Harbor. During a fuel stop, she'd squeezed through a maintenance hatch and thrown herself into black water. The cold hit like concrete. She swam toward distant lights, her lungs screaming. Most girls who jumped didn't make it. Janelle did. But survival isn't the same as freedom. For 3 years, she'd lived in the gaps, undocumented, invisible, existing in the spaces authorities didn't patrol and criminals didn't bother with. She learned Korean from street signs and television screens through store windows. She learned which neighborhoods were safe and which would devour her. She learned that rescue often meant deportation, and deportation meant returning to the same poverty that had made the traffickers' promises sound like salvation. So she stayed hidden until her father got sick. Pier 7 at noon. The black SUVs were exactly where Sunja said they'd be. Janelle watched from behind a rusted crane as people lined up outside the mobile medical unit. Mostly homeless, mostly desperate. The same demographic that disappears without anyone noticing. Her hand touched the 15,000 inches, her pocket, not even close to enough. She stepped forward. The line moved quickly. Too quickly. Industrial efficiency applied to human processing. A woman in a crisp medical uniform checked names against a tablet. Identification? The man ahead of Janelle showed a battered national ID card. The woman scanned it, nodded, waved him inside. Janelle's turn. Identification? I don't have any. The woman's expression didn't change. Name? Janelle Edwards. Nationality? Pause. Calculation. Jamaican. The woman's fingers moved across the tablet. You're not in our registry. Are you documented? No. Then I can't. Please. Janelle's voice dropped, urgent but controlled. I heard you pay 50,000 for blood tests. My father needs medicine. I'm healthy. My blood is good. Please. The woman studied her. Something shifted behind her professional mask, not sympathy, but recognition. The recognition of a commodity. Wait here. She disappeared into the medical unit. Returned 2 minutes later with a man Janelle would later know as Dr. An Myung-suk's assistant, Bong Soo-hwarang. He looked Janelle up and down with clinical detachment. Born during what hours? Excuse me? What time were you born? I don't know exactly. Early morning, my mother said just before dawn. 3 to 5 a.m.? Maybe. Yes, probably. Bong Soo's expression remained neutral, but something in his posture changed. Come inside. The medical unit's interior was sterile, efficient, and cold. Metal examination tables, bright fluorescent lights, the smell of disinfectant and something else, something chemical Janelle couldn't identify. Sit. She sat. A nurse tied a rubber tourniquet around her upper arm. Janelle's pulse spiked. She'd seen needles before, but this felt different. Wrong. Relax your arm. The needle pierced her vein. Dark red blood flowed into the vial. 1 vial, then 2, 3, 4. How many do you need? As many as necessary. 5 vials. 6. Janelle pulled away. That's enough. The nurse grabbed her wrist. Not violently, but firmly. We're not finished. I said that's enough. Bongsu appeared beside her. His voice was calm, too calm. Miss Edwards, you'll receive 10,000 per vial. We're currently at 7 vials. Would you like us to stop? 70,000. More than her father's medication. Enough for 2 months of treatment. How many more? 3 more should suffice. 10 vials total, the most blood she'd ever given. When they finally removed the needle, Janelle's head swam. They gave her orange juice and crackers, made her wait in a recovery chair for 30 minutes. She watched them label her vials, watched them disappear into a back room, watched the tablet screens light up with data she couldn't read. Miss Edwards, you're free to go. They handed her 50,000 inches cash. Exactly what they'd promised. No more. You said digs, 000 per vial. Our standard payment is 50,000 regardless of volume. We appreciate your cooperation. She wanted to argue. But 50,000 was more than she'd had in months. She took the money and left. In the back room, Dr. Ahn Myung-suk stared at her computer screen. The blood analysis results displayed in brilliant green. Compatibility match, 98.7%. Immune suppression markers, positive. Autoimmune neutralization, confirmed. Recommendation, immediate acquisition. She picked up her encrypted phone. 1 call, 1 number. We found her. Chang Min Lee's voice on the other end was steady, emotionless. You're certain? The blood doesn't lie. She's perfect. Pause. Bring her in, tonight. She's undocumented. No family ties in Korea. She'll resist. Then make her not want to resist. Dr. Ahn understood. She always did. And if she runs, she won't get far. Janelle made it 6 blocks from Pier 7 before she felt the pull. Not physical, instinctual. She was being followed. 2 men, casual clothes, professional posture. They maintained perfect distance close enough to track her, far enough to appear coincidental. She turned down an alley. They turned too. She ran. The men didn't chase. They made a phone call. 30 seconds later, a black SUV cut off the alley exit. Janelle reversed direction, but the 2 men were already closing the gap. Miss Edwards, please stop. We're not here to hurt you. She grabbed a loose brick from a collapsed wall. Stay back. We need you to return to the medical facility. There's been a complication with your blood work. You're lying. Your blood tested positive for a rare infectious marker. We need to run additional tests. For your safety. It was almost believable. Almost? I'm fine. Leave me alone. She threw the brick. It connected with the lead man's shoulder. He barely flinched. They moved fast. Too fast. One grabbed her arms. The other injected something into her neck. The world tilted. She fought. Her fists connected with ribs, face, chest. But her movements grew sluggish, heavy. Careful. She's valuable. The last thing Janelle saw before consciousness fled was the inside of the SUV. Leather seats, tinted windows, and a man in the front seat watching her through a one-way mirror. Changmin Lee. He studied her as she slumped unconscious in the back seat. Young, early 20s, scars on her hands from hard labor, defensive wounds on her forearms she'd fought before, survived before. Undocumented, Dr. Ahn said from beside him. No official record of entry into Korea, no family here, no one who'll ask questions. Background? Trafficking survivor. Jumped ship 3 years ago. She's been living in the industrial district ever since. Ghost in the system. Father? Cancer. Terminal. Currently in a public hospital's charity ward. She's been trying to pay for his treatment through scavenging. Chang Min watched Janelle's chest rise and fall. How long does she have? If we proceed with the transfusions? Dr. Ahn's expression hardened. 6 months. Maybe a year. The continuous blood extraction will destroy her bone marrow. And me? You'll live. Possibly decades. For a long moment, Chang Min was silent. Then, if she leaves, I die. It wasn't a question, just fact, cold, absolute. Yes. And if she stays, she dies. Eventually, yes. Changmin's finger traced the edge of the one-way glass. Then we make her want to stay. She woke in a medical facility that looked nothing like the mobile unit. This was a full surgical suite. Underground, sealed, the kind of place that doesn't exist on any official map. Her wrists were restrained. Soft restraints, medical, not prison, but restraints nonetheless. Dr. Ahn appeared above her. Miss Edwards, you're safe. Please don't struggle. You drugged me. A mild sedative. Necessary for transportation. You're not in danger. Then, let me go. Soon. First, we need to discuss your blood work. Janelle's heart hammered. What's wrong with it? Nothing's wrong. Quite the opposite. Your blood has a unique property, a compatibility we've never encountered before. Compatibility with what? Dr. Ahn hesitated. Then, someone who desperately needs it to survive. The door opened. Changmin Lee entered. He looked exactly like the stories said he would. Controlled, cold, powerful. The kind of man who signed death warrants and forgot about them 10 minutes later. But his eyes looked tired. Miss Edwards, he said quietly. My name is Changmin Lee, and I need you to save my life. Your blood suppresses an autoimmune condition that's killing me. Without it, I have 6 weeks. With it, I survive. Janelle's mind raced. Find someone else. There is no one else. You're the only match in our database. Then I'm sorry, but I can't help you. Oxent, 000000. The number hung in the air like a blade. What? 100 million. Transferred immediately to any account you specify. For 6 months of transfusion treatments. Janelle's breath caught. That was more money than her father would ever need. More than she could earn in 10 lifetimes of scavenging. 6 months? Yes. Then I'm free? Pause. The pause told her everything. Then you're free, Changmin said. He was lying. She knew he was lying. But 100 million would save her father. And in the 3 years since she jumped ship, Janelle had learned one truth even sharper than survival. Freedom doesn't matter if the people you love are dead. Transfer the money first. Of course. Changmin nodded to Dr. Ahn. She pulled out a tablet. Bank account information? Janelle gave her father's hospital account number. Within 90 seconds, the transfer was confirmed. It's Danao 000000. Her father would live. And she? When do we start? Janelle asked. Changmin's expression didn't change. Now. As they wheeled Janelle toward the surgical suite for the port implantation, Changmin watched from behind the observation glass. Quan Xioryan appeared beside him. You paid her Tossant 000000 for 6 months. Yes. And after 6 months? After 6 months, she'll be too weak to leave. Her marrow will be depleted. She'll be dependent on our medical care to survive. So she trades one prison for another. She trades nothing. I'm giving her what she wants most, her father's life. In exchange, she gives me mine. Quan studied him. And when she realizes the truth? She already realizes it. She just hasn't accepted it yet. On the surgical table, Janelle stared at the ceiling. Her hands were restrained again. The anesthesiologist prepared the IV. Changmin whispered, barely audible. If she leaves, I die. The surgical lights blazed white. The door sealed shut. And Janelle Edwards learned what every prisoner eventually learns. The most expensive freedom is the one you purchase with someone else's life. Chapter 3. The surgery took 4 hours. Janelle woke to the sound of machines measuring her heartbeat, her breathing, her value. The port was small, barely visible beneath the skin of her inner forearm. A discreet medical device that looked almost innocent. But she could feel it, the foreign weight beneath her flesh, the permanent tether. How do you feel? Dr. Ahn stood at the foot of the bed, tablet in hand, expression clinical. Like I made a deal with the devil. You made a deal with a man who's dying. There's a difference. Is there? Dr. Ahn didn't answer. Instead, she pulled up a chair. The port will allow us to perform microtransfusions without repeated needle punctures. Less traumatic, faster. The procedure is simple. We connect a specialized IV line directly to the port, and your blood flows through a filtration system that isolates the specific antibodies Mr. Lee needs. How often? Daily. Sometimes twice daily if his symptoms intensify. For 6 months. Yes. Janelle stared at the ceiling. 100 million. Her father's life? And then I'm free. Dr. On's hesitation was barely perceptible. But Janelle caught it. Yes, Dr. On said. Then you're free. Another lie. Janelle was collecting them now. They brought Changmin to her room at dawn. He looked worse than before. Paler. Sweat beaded his temple. His hands trembled slightly, a vulnerability he couldn't quite control. You don't need to watch this, Janelle said. Yes, I do. Dr. On connected the IV line to Janelle's port. The sensation was strange, not painful, but intrusive, like something pulling from the inside. Then the line connected to Changmin's chest port, the one they'd implanted years ago after the transfusion that started all this. Blood flowed. Dark red. Silent. For 30 seconds, nothing happened. Then, Changmin's breathing steadied. The trembling stopped. Color returned to his face. Janelle watched the transformation with something between horror and fascination. It's working, Dr. On said quietly. Changmin's eyes opened. Clear. Focused. He looked at Janelle like she was a miracle he didn't deserve. Thank you, he whispered. She didn't respond. Because gratitude from a captor isn't gratitude, it's manipulation. After the transfusion, they returned Changmin to his quarters. Janelle remained in the medical wing, still connected to monitoring equipment. When can I leave this room? She asked. Once we're certain your vitals are stable. A few hours. And then you'll be moved to your permanent accommodations. Which are? Guest quarters on the 3rd floor of Mr. Lee's residence. His residence. Yes. Not a hospital. The medical facility is here. But your living quarters will be in the main house. Janelle sat up. I'm not living with him. You don't have a choice. The transfusions require proximity. If his condition deteriorates, we need you accessible within minutes. So I'm a prisoner. You're a resident medical consultant. With armed guards? For your protection. From who? Dr. On's expression hardened. From everyone who'll want you dead once they learn you're keeping their boss alive. The words landed like stones. Excuse me? Mr. Lee's organization doesn't know he's sick. They don't know you exist. If they discover you're the only thing standing between him and death, some will see you as a lifeline. Others will see you as a vulnerability to exploit. So I'm a target. You're leverage, which is infinitely more dangerous. They moved her after midnight. 3 black SUVs. Armed escorts. The kind of security detail reserved for heads of state or cartel leaders. Changmin's estate sat on Busan's northern hills, isolated, fortified, invisible to anyone who didn't know where to look. The main house was traditional Korean architecture wrapped in modern security. Stone walls, iron gates, surveillance cameras tracking every angle. Inside, luxury without warmth. Expensive furniture arranged with geometric precision. Art that cost more than lives. The kind of wealth that proves money doesn't buy comfort, it buys distance. Nurse Yunhui Dalnim met her at the entrance. Miss Edwards, welcome. I'll be overseeing your care during your stay here. My stay? Yes. That's what we're calling it? Yunhui's expression remained professionally neutral. Would you prefer another term? Janelle thought about it. No. Stay is fine. It sounds temporary. This way, please. Her quarters were on the 3rd floor. East wing. Corner room with windows overlooking the gardens, except the windows didn't open. Reinforced glass, locked from the outside. For your safety, Yunhui explained. Of course. The room was large. Bed, desk, private bathroom. A bookshelf stocked with Korean language primers and medical textbooks. Everything a prisoner might need to stay occupied. Mr. Lee will join you for dinner at 7. I'm not hungry. It's not optional. Dinner was served in a private dining room. Just the 2 of them. Guards stationed outside. Changmin looked stronger. Healthy. The transfusion had worked faster than either of them expected. You don't have to eat if you don't want to, he said. Then why am I here? Because we need to establish rules. Your rules. Our rules. Janelle laughed. Bitter. I'm a prisoner. I don't get rules. You're a guest. Guests can leave. You signed a contract. Under coercion. Under compensation. 100 million. Your father's hospital confirmed receipt this morning. He's been moved to a private room. Best oncologist in Seoul. Experimental treatment protocol. He has a chance now. Janelle's defenses cracked. Just slightly. You could have told me that. I'm telling you now. For a moment, silence. Then Changmin leaned back. Here are the rules. You're free to move within the residence. The gardens, the library, anywhere on the property. But you don't leave the grounds. And if I try, you won't make it past the gate. That's comforting. You don't accept visitors. You don't make phone calls without supervision. You don't discuss your presence here with anyone, staff included. Why? Because the moment my organization learns you exist, your life becomes exponentially more complicated. More complicated than being imprisoned in a mafia boss's house? Yes. The certainty in his voice made her pause. Who would hurt me? People who want me dead. People who want me alive. Take your pick. Janelle set down her fork. I want transparency. If I'm risking my life, I deserve to know why. Changmin studied her. Then, my consigliere, Kwan Seorion, believes you're a liability. She thinks I should find a way to extract what I need from you and dispose of the rest. The rest being me. Yes. And you disagree? I disagree with the method. Not the logic. Janelle's blood ran cold. So, you're just a slower executioner. I'm a man trying to survive long enough to find a solution that doesn't require your death. Do you actually believe you'll find one? Pausa. I have to. 3 days later, Janelle learned why Changmin's paranoia wasn't paranoia. She was in the garden, supervised, Nurse Yunhui watching from the veranda. The shot came from the north wall. Silenced, professional. The bullet passed 6 inches from Janelle's head and buried itself in a stone fountain. Yunhui moved faster than anyone her age should move. She tackled Janelle, dragged her behind cover, and triggered a silent alarm. Within 20 seconds, the estate erupted. Guards poured from every entrance. Lockdown protocols activated. Steel shutters descended over windows. The entire property transformed into a fortress. Changmin appeared in the garden, flanked by armed men. He didn't ask if she was hurt. He already knew his people would have reported it. Inside. Now. They moved her to a secure room in the basement. Reinforced walls, no windows. Medical equipment already prepped in case she'd been hit. Changmin followed. Who was that? Janelle demanded. Unknown. We're finding out. Someone just tried to kill me. No. Someone tried to make a point. If they wanted you dead, you'd be dead. The logic was terrifying because it was accurate. What point? That I'm vulnerable. That my cure can be destroyed. So, I'm bait. Your motivation. Whoever did this wants me to know I'm not invincible anymore. Janelle sank into a chair. Her hands shook, delayed adrenaline response. Changmin knelt beside her. The gesture was so unexpected, so human, that she flinched. I'm moving you into the main house. My floor. Under direct protection. I'm already in your house. My personal quarters. Where my guards can respond within seconds. That's not protection. That's possession. It's survival. Yours and mine. He stood. Pack what you need. We're moving you tonight. Her new quarters were adjacent to Changmin's, connected by a shared sitting room, close enough that she could hear his conversations through the walls if she listened carefully, which she did. 2 nights after the assassination attempt, she heard voices. Kwan Seorion, Dr. An, Changmin. Stabilization is temporary. The transfusions are working, but Miss Edwards's marrow degradation has begun earlier than projected. How much earlier? 4 months, maybe 5. Not 6. Silence. Can we slow it? Only by reducing transfusion frequency, which would destabilize your condition. Then we don't reduce it. Changmin, she'll die. I'll find another solution. There is no other solution. You know that. We've consulted every specialist. The only option is, I'm not replacing her. Why not? This was Kwan's voice. Sharp, pragmatic. She signed a contract. She knew the risks. If she fails, we secure another donor and… No. Be reasonable. I said no. You're letting sentiment compromise strategy. I'm letting humanity prevent me from becoming exactly what I've spent 20 years trying to avoid. Which is a man who kills without hesitation because he's forgotten how to value a life. Pause. Then Kwan. Then prepare for removal, because if you won't secure her replacement, someone else will. The conversation ended. Janelle pressed her back against the wall. Removal. The word echoed. She had 4 months. Maybe 5. Then she was disposable. That night, Janelle made a decision. She would escape. She had 100 million transferred to her father's account. He was safe, treated, he would survive. Her debt was paid. Now she needed to save herself. She studied the guard rotations, memorized the security patterns, found the weak points in the estate's defenses. 2 weeks later, during a supply delivery, she made her move. She slipped out through the service entrance, scaled the east wall, ran into the darkness beyond the property line. She made it 3 miles before the pain started, then 5 miles before it became unbearable. At 7 miles, she collapsed. Simultaneously, inside the estate, Chang Min was in a meeting with his senior lieutenants. Mid-sentence, his body seized. The autoimmune response, without Janelle's proximity, without the antibodies in her blood, surged with catastrophic speed. He collapsed, convulsing, bleeding internally, his immune system attacking itself with the efficiency of a military operation. Dr. An raced to stabilize him. But without Janelle, without the transfusion, there was nothing she could do. Find her, Dr. An ordered. Find her now, or he dies in the next 20 minutes. They found Janelle unconscious by the roadside, brought her back, connected the transfusion. Chang Min stabilized within 5 minutes. When Janelle woke, he was sitting beside her bed. You tried to leave. Yes. You almost died. So did you. I'm not angry. That surprised her. Why not? Because you did exactly what I would have done. You saw an opportunity. You took it. He leaned forward. But now you know. The connection isn't just metaphorical. When you're gone, I deteriorate. Rapidly. If you'd made it another hour, I would have been dead. Then find someone else. There is no one else. Then let me go and die. No. Why? For the first time, Chang Min's control cracked. Just enough to reveal the truth beneath. Because I'm tired of surviving by sacrificing others. For 20 years, I've built an empire on bodies I didn't count. I'm not adding yours to the pile. Janelle stared at him. Then what happens to me? I find a solution. A real one. And if you can't? Silence. Then we both die, Chang Min said quietly. But at least one of us dies human. Chapter 4. Janelle learned to read the house by its silences. Morning silence meant Chang Min was in meetings, the kind where decisions were made that ended lives across 3 continents. Afternoon silence meant his lieutenants were reporting, their voices low and urgent through the heavy doors. Evening silence was the most dangerous. That's when the real work happened. The executions, the betrayals, the parts of the empire that couldn't survive daylight. She'd been living in Chang Min's residence for 3 weeks. 21 days of proximity, 21 days of twice-daily transfusions, 21 days of watching a dying man slowly remember how to live, and 21 days of becoming something she didn't recognize. Not quite prisoner, not quite guest. Somewhere in between, existing in the gaps the way she'd survived on the streets, except here the gaps were carpeted and climate-controlled. You're adjusting well, Nurse Yunhui observed during the morning transfusion. Janelle watched her blood flow through the clear tube. Am I? Most people in your situation would still be fighting. You've accepted the reality. Have I? Or am I just planning better? Yunhui's expression remained neutral, but something flickered behind her eyes. Respect, maybe. Or warning. Mr. Lee has been reviewing security footage. Your attempted escape taught him where the vulnerabilities are. They've been corrected. So he's learning from me. You're learning from each other. The rules Chang Min established were simple. Don't leave the property. Don't contact anyone outside. Don't discuss your presence with staff. Don't ask questions about his business. Janelle broke Rule 4 within the first week. They were in the shared sitting room between their quarters. Changmin reading reports. Janelle pretending to read a Korean language textbook. "Who are you?" she asked. He didn't look up. "You know who I am. I know what people call you. I don't know who you are. Those are the same thing in my world." "Are they?" He set down the report. "Why does it matter?" "Because I'm giving you my blood. My life. I'd like to know who I'm dying for." The bluntness made him pause. "I'm 42 years old. I control most of Busan's pharmaceutical routes, 3 shipping corridors, and enough offshore accounts to fund a small country. I've killed 17 people personally, ordered the deaths of probably 200 more. I don't drink excessively, don't use the products I move, and I've never trusted anyone enough to call them a friend." He returned to his report. "There. Now you know." "No. Now I know your resume. That's different. What else do you want? Why do you do it? The control, the killing, what's the point?" "Survival. That's everyone's excuse." "It's not an excuse. It's the only reason that matters." He looked at her now. Really looked. "You jumped off a trafficking ship into black water. You think that was noble? It was survival. You scavenge, you hide. You made a deal that's slowly killing you. All survival. We're not different. We're very different. I survive because I have to. You survive because you've forgotten how to do anything else." His jaw tightened. "Careful. Or what? You'll kill me? You can't. You need me. I can make your life considerably more unpleasant." "More unpleasant than being a living blood bag for a mafia boss? Try?" For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then Changmin laughed. Actually laughed. "You have no sense of self-preservation. I lost that 3 years ago. When I jumped, the moment broke something between them. Not the tension, but the pretense." "My mother died when I was 7, Changmin said quietly. "Blood clot. She was healthy one day, dead the next. My father remarried within 6 months. The woman he chose made it clear I was an obstacle to her children's inheritance." "So you learned to survive." "I learned that family is a lie people tell themselves. Power is the only relationship that doesn't require trust." "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard." "It's the truest thing you'll ever hear in this house." Janelle began memorizing faces. Beiko Junghuan Chengmin's head of security. 47, scar across his left eyebrow, moved like violence waiting to happen. Taejun Gichang, lieutenant controlling the southern ports. Younger, ambitious, the kind who smiled before betraying you. Hiwon Seolwa, information broker. Never physically present, but her reports appeared daily in sealed envelopes. Changmin read them alone. And Kwan Seoryeon, the consigliere, the one who'd advocated for Janelle's removal. She appeared at the residence every 3 days, always impeccably dressed, always watching Janelle with clinical assessment. "How is our guest?" she'd ask Changmin. "Stable. And her?" "Integration? Proceeding as expected." "You're not getting attached, are you?" "Don't be absurd." But the way Kwan looked at Janelle suggested she didn't believe him. The nights were the hardest. After the evening transfusion, when the medical staff left and the guards took positions outside, Janelle and Changmin existed in the strange twilight of forced proximity. Sometimes he worked, she watched. Sometimes she read. He pretended not to notice. Sometimes they talked. "Do you miss it?" he asked one night. "Miss what?" "Jamaica. Home. I miss the version of home I thought existed before I learned better. The actual place? No. That place let me get on a ship with a trafficker." "Your family didn't know?" "My mother died when I was 12. Father tried, but poverty is a louder voice than love. When someone offers you an escape, you take it. You don't ask questions." So we both learned the same lesson, which is, trust is a luxury poor people can't afford. Janelle looked at him, really looked, and for the first time saw the edges of the man beneath the control. "We're not the same," she said. "You chose power because you wanted it. I survive because I have no other option." "You think I had options?" "More than I did. Perhaps, but we both ended up here. In this house, connected by blood and necessity, our choices brought us to the same cage. Except you have the key. Do I? Because from where I'm sitting, we're both prisoners. The vulnerability in his voice surprised her. Prisoners of what? Our own survival instincts. You can't leave because I'll die. I can't let you go because I want to live. We're trapped by biology and selfishness in equal measure. He stood, walked to the window. Do you ever wonder if we deserve freedom? People like us, who've compromised everything to stay alive? Janelle didn't answer, because the question was too honest to dismiss. 3 days later, Kwan Seorian requested a private meeting with Janelle. Miss Edwards, thank you for joining me. They sat in a secure conference room, guards outside, recorder off, which somehow made it worse. You've been here a month. How are you finding the accommodations? Gilded cages are still cages. Pragmatic. I respect that. Kwan folded her hands. I'll be direct. Changmin is compromised. Because of me. Because of his attachment to you. It's making him weak. He needs me to survive. He needs your blood, not your companionship. Yet he's allowed you into his personal quarters, shared meals, conversations. He's treating you like a person instead of a resource. And that bothers you. It jeopardizes everything we've built. Sentiment is a vulnerability. And in our world, vulnerabilities get exploited. Then remove me. Believe me, I've considered it. But Changmin won't allow it, which means you're either extremely valuable or extremely dangerous. I'm trying to determine which. Janelle met her eyes. Maybe I'm both. That's what I'm afraid of. Kwan leaned forward. Tell me, Miss Edwards, why haven't you tried to escape again? I did. It didn't work. That was 3 weeks ago. You've memorized guard patterns since then. Identified new vulnerabilities. I've watched you watching us. You're planning something. I'm surviving. By integration or manipulation. Does it matter? Yes. Because one makes you predictable, the other makes you a threat. Janelle didn't flinch. I made a deal. 6 months. I'm keeping it. And after 6 months? After 6 months, that's between me and Changmin. Kwan studied her. You've changed since you arrived. Softer. More compliant. Is that genuine? Or are you playing a longer game? What would you do? Janelle asked quietly. If you were me? Kwan's expression didn't change. But something shifted behind her eyes. I'd make myself indispensable, not just medically, emotionally. I'd find the gaps in his armor and fill them. I'd make him need me beyond the blood. And then? Then I'd leverage that need into freedom. Is that what you think I'm doing? I think you're smarter than you pretend to be. And I think Changmin is more vulnerable than he realizes. Kwan stood. A word of advice. If you're genuinely invested in keeping him alive, stay valuable. The moment you become a liability, I won't hesitate. Noted. One more thing. Your blood profile? The one in the trafficking survivor database? Janelle's pulse quickened. What about it? It was sealed. Level 5 Interpol encryption. Someone with significant access unsealed it, deliberately. Someone wanted us to find you. Who? That's what I'm trying to determine. But whoever it was, they knew exactly what they were doing. Your presence here isn't random. You were delivered. That night, Janelle couldn't sleep. Someone wanted us to find you. She waited until Changmin was in meetings, slipped into his study, found the file labeled Edwards, Janelle Acquisition. Inside. Medical profiles, blood compatibility reports, background investigations, and a communication log. The file had been delivered anonymously through an encrypted channel. The sender's identity was scrubbed, but the routing metadata was intact. The file originated from inside Interpol. Someone with access to trafficking survivor databases had deliberately leaked her information to Changmin's organization. She'd been sold. Again. She found Changmin in his study at midnight. Who sent you my file? He looked up from his papers. Excuse me? Someone inside Interpol. Someone with high-level access. They unsealed my records and sent them directly to your people. Who was it? I don't know. Don't lie to me. You had me investigated. You know exactly who. I don't know because I didn't ask. When Dr. An brought me your profile, I didn't question the source. I needed a cure. You were it, that's all that mattered. Someone sold me to you. Welcome to my world. Everyone's for sale. You just didn't know your price until now. She wanted to hit him. Wanted to scream. But rage wouldn't change the facts. So I was never free. Even before I got on that ship. Someone's been trading me like cargo my entire life. Changmin's expression softened. Just slightly. Yes. The honesty was almost worse than the lie would have been. And you don't care. I care that you're angry. I understand why. But it doesn't change our situation. Someone facilitated this arrangement. We're both part of it now. So find them. Why? Because I want to know who decided my life was worth selling. Changmin studied her. Then, if I find them, what then? What will that change? Nothing. But I'll know. And knowing is the only freedom I have left. For a long moment. Silence. Then, all right, I'll find them. 2 nights later, Janelle made her move. Not to escape the compound. She'd learned that lesson. To escape Changmin. She waited until the midnight transfusion was complete. Waited until he was stable, sleeping off the treatment's exhaustion. Then she disconnected her port. Sealed it with medical tape. She walked out of the residence's main entrance. Past the guards who recognized her. Down the driveway toward the gate. Miss Edwards? She didn't stop. Miss Edwards, you can't. I'm taking a walk. On the property. That's allowed, isn't it? The guards exchanged glances. Technically, yes. She walked the perimeter, testing boundaries, timing responses. She made it to the north garden before she felt it. Dizziness, weakness. She collapsed near the fountain. In his quarters, Changmin woke to agony. The autoimmune response was faster this time, more violent. He staggered out of bed, made it 3 steps, collapsed. His body was attacking itself with catastrophic efficiency. They found them both. Janelle, unconscious in the garden. Changmin convulsing in his quarters. Dr. An connected the transfusion line with seconds to spare. When Janelle woke, Changmin was already conscious. Furious. What were you doing? Testing a theory. What theory? How far I can get before you die. The answer is, not far. I noticed. He leaned back, exhausted. You're not just connected to me medically, there's something else, some kind of proximity dependency. When you're too far away, we both destabilize. So I'm not just your cure, I'm your tether. Yes. Janelle stared at the ceiling. Then we're both prisoners, just like you said. Yes. For the first time, they looked at each other without pretense. 2 people, trapped by biology, by necessity. By choices that had stopped being choices the moment blood started flowing. I'm sorry, Changmin said quietly. For what? For needing you. For trapping you. For being exactly what you feared I was. You're not sorry enough to let me go. No, I'm not. Then stop apologizing. At least be honest about what you are. Which is, a man who'll survive at any cost. Even mine. He didn't deny it. The next morning, Dr. An requested an emergency meeting. Janelle and Changmin sat across from her in the medical suite. I need to be direct. The transfusions are working. But Miss Edwards' marrow degradation has accelerated. She has 4 months, maybe less. Changmin's expression hardened. You said 6. The proximity dependency is consuming her faster than projected. Her body is sustaining you at an exponential cost. Then we reduce transfusion frequency. You'll die within 72 hours. Silence. There has to be another option, Changmin said. There isn't. One of you dies. That's the only mathematical certainty. Janelle looked at Changmin. Then I leave. You let me go. I die somewhere else, and you find another solution. There is no other solution. Then you die, she said simply. You let me go, and you die like you were supposed to 4 months ago. No. Yes. Because I'm not spending my last 4 months as your prisoner. The door burst open. Beiko Junghuan entered, expression grim. Sir, we have a situation. The syndicate summit. It's been moved up 3 days from now. Changmin tensed. Why? Rival families are mobilizing. They've heard rumors about your health. They're coming to assess weakness. And if they find it, they'll move against us, immediately. Chang Min stood. Then we give them strength. Full security detail. Maximum show of force. Beiko hesitated. Sir, they'll bring assessors, medical professionals. If they discover Miss Edwards, they won't. And if they do, then we have a different problem. He turned to Janelle. 3 days. You stay hidden. You stay silent. If anyone asks, you don't exist. And if someone tries to verify my non-existence? His expression was ice. Then they'll discover exactly how far I'm willing to go to protect what's mine. The possessiveness in his voice should have terrified her. Instead, for the first time since she'd arrived, Janelle felt something unexpected. Safe, and that realization was more dangerous than any threat. Chapter 5. The summit preparations transformed Changmin's estate into a fortress of theater. Every surface polished, every guard positioned, every detail calibrated to project absolute control. Power was 90% performance, 10% violence, and the performance had to be flawless. Janelle watched from her sealed quarters as black cars arrived, rival family heads, their consigliere, medical assessors disguised as advisors. Everyone circling, searching for blood in the water. You understand the stakes, Changmin had told her that morning. If they discover you, they discover my vulnerability. If they discover my vulnerability, they'll move against me. And if they move against me, you become a target worth eliminating. So I hide. You disappear. Now she sat in the dark, listening to footsteps in hallways below, voices through walls, the careful choreography of men pretending civility while preparing for war. 3 floors down, Chang Min entertained predators. It happened at 2 a.m. Janelle woke to her door crashing open. Dr. An rushed in, medical bag in hand, face pale. Get dressed. Now. What's wrong? Chang Min collapsed during negotiations. He's convulsing. We need you immediately. Janelle's blood ran cold. I thought the last transfusion would hold. It should have. Something triggered an accelerated response. Move. They raced through service corridors, avoiding the main halls where summit guests still lingered, down 2 floors. Through the secure medical wing, Chang Min lay on a surgical table, body rigid, bleeding from his nose and ears. The autoimmune cascade was catastrophic. Connect her. Now, Dr. An barked. Nurse Yunhui moved with practiced efficiency, port accessed, line connected, blood flowing. 30 seconds. Chang Min's convulsions slowed. 60 seconds. His breathing steadied. 2 minutes. His eyes opened. He saw Janelle. Relief flooded his features, followed immediately by fury. Not at her. At himself. The summit guests were ushered out at dawn with polite excuses. Business concluded. Arrangements finalized. Safe travels. They left, but everyone knew something had happened. Once the estate emptied, Chang Min summoned his inner circle. Beiko Junghuan, Quan Seoryeon, Taejun Gichang, Dr. An, and, for the first time, Janelle. Someone poisoned me, Chang Min said without preamble. Silence. The transfusion schedule was precise. The collapse shouldn't have happened, which means someone triggered it deliberately. Quan leaned forward. Who had access? Everyone at the summit. The poisoning had to be subtle. Something that wouldn't affect a normal person but would accelerate my autoimmune response. Dr. An pulled up a tablet. I ran toxicology. Traces of Bakwa extract white birch derivative. In normal metabolism, it's harmless. In your condition, it acts as an immune system stimulant. Catastrophic in combination with the autoimmune disorder. Who served me? Kitchen staff, all vetted, all loyal. Then the poison was introduced before serving. During preparation, Beiko's expression darkened. 2 kitchen workers were hired 3 weeks ago. Temporary staff for the summit. I'll bring them in. Don't bring them in. Execute them. Janelle flinched. Chang Min, Quan began. They tried to kill me. In my house. During negotiations that will determine our survival for the next decade. This isn't about justice. It's about message. And if they weren't involved? Janelle asked quietly. Every head turned toward her. "Excuse me?" Chang Min's voice was ice. "What if they were pawns? What if someone else introduced the poison, and you're killing the wrong people? Then I'm sending a message that attempting to kill me directly or indirectly ends in death. That's murder. That's survival." The room held its breath. Then Quan spoke. "She has a point. If we execute the staff without investigation, we might eliminate our only leads to whoever orchestrated this." Chang Min's jaw tightened. "Fine. Interrogate them first, then execute them." It wasn't mercy, but it was calculation, progress. The kitchen workers were brought to a basement room Janelle hadn't known existed. Concrete walls, drain in the center, the architecture of violence. She shouldn't have watched. But Chang Min insisted. "You wanted transparency. Here it is." The interrogation was clinical, professional. Baiko asked questions. The workers answered. When they hesitated, consequences were immediate and educational. After 30 minutes, the truth emerged. They'd been approached by an intermediary, paid $5 million each, given a vial of clear liquid, told to add it to Chang Min's drink. "Who hired you?" "We don't know. We never saw a face, just a voice on a phone." "Describe the voice." "Male, Korean, educated accent, northern dialect." Not enough for identification, but enough to confirm internal betrayal. Chang Min turned to Baiko. "Let them go." Baiko blinked. "Sir? They're tools, not architects. Let them go. With a message. Anyone who accepts contracts against me should price in the cost of failure." He severed one finger from each worker's right hand. Professional, surgical, permanent reminder. Then released them. Janelle fought not to vomit. Back in their quarters, Janelle exploded. "You mutilated them. I spared them. You call that mercy? In my world, yes. They tried to kill me. They're alive. That's mercy. You're a monster. I'm pragmatic. Those men are now walking advertisements. Everyone who sees their hands will know. Betray Chang Min Lee, and you'll wish you'd died. And you think that's leadership? I think that's survival, which is the only thing that matters in this world. Not to me. Then you're in the wrong world." They stared at each other, both breathing hard. Then Chang Min's expression shifted, softened. "I didn't want you to see that. But you made me watch. Because you need to understand what I am. Not the version you want me to be. The actual man. The one who'll do whatever necessary to survive." "Why does that matter?" "Because you're part of this now. You're not just connected to me medically. You're complicit. Every day you give me blood is another day I'm alive to make decisions like this." The weight of his words settled like stones. "So I'm responsible for the people you hurt. We're both responsible. For each other. For what we're willing to sacrifice for survival." Janelle sank into a chair. "I didn't sign up for this." "Yes, you did. The moment you took the money. The moment you agreed to 6 months. You signed up for all of it. I signed up to save my father. And you have. He's alive, thriving, getting treatment that's working. You traded your complicity for his life. Don't pretend it's different from what I do." She wanted to argue. Couldn't. Because he was right. 3 days later, Dr. An requested another private meeting. This time, just Chang Min. Janelle watched through security footage she'd learned to access by befriending a junior technician who thought she was lonely. The conversation was brief, brutal. "The marrow degradation is accelerating faster than any model predicted. Miss Edwards has 3 months. Maximum, more likely 2. Can we slow it? Only by stopping transfusions entirely, which gives you 72 hours before fatal collapse. Then we find another solution. There is no other solution. This isn't a puzzle with an elegant answer. It's mathematics. Her life or yours. Choose." Chang Min stood, walked to the window. "What if we found another donor? A replacement? We've been searching, no matches. Her compatibility is unique, possibly 1 in 50 million. Then we keep searching. In 3 months? Impossible. Then make it possible." Dr. On's expression hardened. "Chang Min, I've known you for 15 years. I've seen you make impossible decisions without hesitation. But this is different. You're stalling because you don't want to choose. I'm stalling because I refuse to accept there's no other option. Why? She's one person. You run an organization that employs thousands. Your death destabilizes everything we've built. Her death is statistical. Her death is murder. Don't dress it up as statistics. Then what do you call what you did to those kitchen workers? Justice. Justice is just murder with paperwork. Changmin turned. Get out. Not until you decide. I said get out. Dr. Han left. Changmin stood alone, watching the sunrise. And Janelle, watching through hidden cameras, realized something that terrified her. He was going to choose her. That night, Janelle confronted him. I saw the meeting. I know about the 3 months. Changmin didn't ask how. Then you know more than I wanted you to. Why didn't you tell me? What would be the point? So you could spend your last months watching a countdown? So I could make my own choices. What choices? You're trapped here, medically bound to me. What choices do you actually have? I could leave and die alone somewhere else? That's not choice. That's surrender. Maybe surrender is the only freedom I have left. He moved toward her. Close. Too close. The kind of proximity that wasn't about the medical connection. Is that what you want? To give up? I want to stop pretending this ends well. I want transparency about what I am to you. You're my cure. No, I'm your prisoner. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, I'm just as trapped as you are. You can leave any time. No, I can't. Because if I let you go, I die. And if I keep you, you die. I'm imprisoned by the same biology that chains you. They stared at each other. Then Janelle asked the question that had been building for weeks. If you had to choose your life or mine, which would you choose? Silence. I don't know, Changmin said finally. That's the first honest thing you've said to me. That night, they sat in the shared sitting room. No transfusion scheduled. No medical necessity. Just 2 prisoners in the same cage. Tell me about Jamaica, Changmin said quietly. Why? Because I want to know what you lost. Janelle was quiet for a long moment. I lost the belief that the world was fair. That good things happened to good people. That if you were kind and worked hard, someone would notice and help you. When did you lose it? The night I realized the trafficker's promises were lies. That the man with kind eyes was leading me towards something worse than poverty. What did you do? I jumped into black water, in the middle of the ocean, because even drowning seemed better than what was waiting. But you survived? Physically. But something broke that night, the part of me that believed in rescue, in heroes, in anyone coming to save me. Changmin nodded slowly. I broke the same part, different circumstances, same result. What broke you? The night my mother died, I was 7. I watched her collapse, watched the ambulance take too long, watched her die on a kitchen floor while my father made phone calls to protect his business instead of holding her hand. And you learned that the only person who'll save you is yourself. That trust is a luxury you can't afford. That survival requires you to become the kind of person others fear to abandon. They sat in silence. 2 survivors, 2 people who'd learned the same brutal lesson from different teachers. We're not so different, Janelle said. No, we're not. Except you have power. And you have something I'll never have. Which is the ability to forgive. To still believe people deserve second chances. I don't believe that. Yes, you do. Otherwise you'd have poisoned me by now. She laughed. Bitter. The thought has crossed my mind. Why haven't you? Because killing you means I become you. And I'm not ready for that yet. Yet. The next morning, Baco delivered the news. Sir, the Syndicate Summit request has been formalized. 7 rival families, neutral territory, 3 weeks from now. Agenda, power restructuring, route redistribution, and medical verification. Changmin's expression hardened. They want proof I'm healthy. They want proof you're not a liability. Then we give them proof. How? Miss Edwards's presence will be discovered. The medical dependency will be exposed. They'll view you as weak. I know. Kwan Seorian entered. Then we remove the weakness. Everyone turned. We tell them the truth. Chang Min had a medical crisis. He found a cure. The cure worked. He's stronger than ever. And Miss Edwards? We present her as a medical consultant, hired, compensated, temporary, not a dependency, an asset. They'll want verification. Then, we provide it. We have 3 weeks. We train her. We integrate her into the organization publicly. We make her presence seem strategic, not desperate. Chang Min looked at Janelle. Would you be willing? Do I have a choice? No, but I'm asking anyway. She met his eyes. Then yes, I'll play your game. But answer one question first. What? If this goes wrong, if they discover the truth, will you protect me or sacrifice me? The question hung in the air. Chang Min's answer would define everything. I'll protect you. Why? Because you're mine to protect. And I don't abandon what's mine. The possessiveness should have repelled her. Instead, it was the closest thing to safety she'd felt in 3 years. That afternoon, Chang Min made an unprecedented decision. He called a full organization meeting. Every lieutenant, every captain, every person with operational authority. Janelle stood beside him. This is Miss Janelle Edwards, medical consultant. She's been instrumental in managing a health crisis I've recently resolved. Effective immediately, she has my authority in matters related to organizational health and security protocols. Silence. Then Taejin Gichung spoke. Sir, with respect, who is she? Someone who saved my life. That's all you need to know. And her presence at the summit? She'll attend. As my advisor. Murmurs rippled through the room. Kwon stepped forward. Anyone who questions Miss Edwards's authority questions mine. Anyone who threatens her answers to me directly. The message was clear. Janelle was untouchable. And that made her the most dangerous person in the room. That night, as Janelle prepared for bed, she found an envelope on her pillow. Inside, a letter. Handwritten. Chang Min's precise script. I've spent 20 years ensuring no one could hurt me. The cost was forgetting how to be vulnerable, how to trust, how to value a life beyond its utility. You've reminded me what I sacrificed for survival. Not through preaching. Through existing. Through refusing to let this place break you. 3 months isn't enough. But it's what we have. I won't waste it pretending I don't need you beyond the blood. I do. Not because you're useful. Because you're the first person in 2 decades who looks at me and sees a man instead of a weapon. If I have to choose between your life and mine, I still don't know what I'll choose. But I know I'll regret either answer for whatever time I have left. Thank you for not giving up on me, even when you should have. Chang Min. Janelle read it 3 times, then burned it. Not because she didn't believe it, because she believed it too much. And believing it made everything infinitely more complicated. Chapter 6. The summit preparations consumed the next 3 weeks like a military campaign. Janelle received a crash course in organizational theater from Kwon Seo-ryun, who proved to be an unsettlingly effective teacher. You're not a victim. You're a specialist. Walk like you chose this. I didn't choose this. They don't know that. Perception is currency. Right now, you're the woman who saved Chang Min Lee when every specialist failed. That makes you valuable, mysterious, dangerous. I'm none of those things. Then learn to fake it, because at the summit, 7 families will be looking for weakness. Any hesitation, any fear, any hint that you're here against your will, they'll exploit it. So Janelle learned how to stand beside Chang Min without seeming subordinate, how to deflect questions without appearing evasive, how to present medical expertise she didn't have by speaking confidently about concepts she barely understood. Remember, Kwon reminded her, they won't verify your credentials. They'll verify Chang Min's health. As long as he appears strong, your presence validates that strength. You're not the cure, you're the proof it worked. It was brilliant. It was terrifying. It was also a lie that could collapse at any moment. Neutral territory meant a private estate 2 hours north of Busan. Owned by no family. Maintained by independent security, the Switzerland of organized crime. The convoy arrived at sunset. 7 rival families. Their security details, medical assessors. Enough firepower to start a small war. Janelle rode in Chang Min's car, wedged between displays of power and violence barely contained by expensive suits. You'll stay in the secure quarters during negotiations, Changmin instructed. Public appearances only. No private meetings. No conversations without my presence. You're treating me like a child. I'm treating you like someone who could be kidnapped, ransomed, or killed to make a point. Forgive me if that seems parental. Beside him, Beiko Jungwon monitored communications. Security sweep complete, no external threats detected. Internal surveillance confirms all delegations are unarmed per protocol. Do we trust that? No. But we're operating under the same restrictions. Fair disadvantage. Fair disadvantage. Only in this world could that phrase sound reassuring. The Great Hall was architecturally neutral, no family symbols, no territorial markers, just power arranged in concentric circles. 7 family heads sat at a round table, their consigliere behind them, medical assessors along the walls, pretending to be advisors while conducting visual diagnostics. Janelle stood behind Changmin, close enough to demonstrate affiliation, far enough to maintain professional distance. Yongray Sungmin, head of the northern ports, spoke first. Changmin, you look, well, translation. You look too healthy for someone who was rumored to be dying 3 months ago. I am well, Yongray. Thank you for your concern. We were all concerned, especially when negotiations were postponed, twice. Medical complications. Now resolved. So we heard. Care to elaborate? Changmin's expression remained neutral. Autoimmune condition, rare, required specialized treatment. I found a specialist. Every eye in the room shifted to Janelle. This is Miss Janelle Edwards, medical consultant. She developed the treatment protocol that stabilized my condition. Ilsun Daehyun, Southern Territories, leaned forward. I'm not familiar with Miss Edwards's credentials. What institution trained you? Janelle met his eyes. Kwon's voice echoed, confidence, not detail. My training is unconventional. I specialize in autoimmune disorders triggered by transfusion complications. Mr. Lee's case required approaches outside traditional methodology, such as proprietary protocols. I don't discuss methodology in open forum. Translation: none of your business. Ilsun's eyes narrowed, but he couldn't press without appearing aggressive. In this room, aggression toward a medical professional reflected poorly. Point to Janelle. After 2 hours of negotiation, route redistributions, profit sharing, territorial adjustments, they reached the inevitable. We'd like medical verification, Yongray said. Nothing invasive, just basic diagnostics. Surely you understand our concern. I do. And I agree. Janelle's pulse spiked. They'd prepared for this. Dr. An had coached her, but preparation and execution were different beasts. A medical assessor approached. Dr. Kangjin Mirai, expensive suit, colder eyes. Mr. Lee, if you'll extend your arm. Changmin did. Dr. Kangjin performed standard tests: blood pressure, pulse, respiratory function, visual examination of skin tone, pupil response, motor control. Janelle watched with forced calm. Everything appeared normal, because it was. The latest transfusion had been 6 hours ago. Changmin was stable, strong. Heart rate, 72. Blood pressure, 120/80. Respiratory function, normal. No visible signs of systemic illness. Dr. Kangjin turned to Janelle. May I ask what treatment protocol you developed? Targeted immune suppression combined with antibody modulation. The specifics are proprietary. And the long-term prognosis? Stable, with continued management. Continued management meaning? Periodic monitoring, preventive protocols, standard post-treatment care. Dr. Kangjin studied her. I'd be interested in reviewing your research. For academic purposes, I don't publish. Client confidentiality. Of course. He returned to his position along the wall. Janelle exhaled slowly. They'd passed. During the dinner recess, Janelle was escorted to secure quarters, a suite on the estate's 3rd floor. Guarded, monitored, comfortable in the way prisons can be comfortable. She'd been there 20 minutes when the door opened. Not Changmin. Heijin Bora, consigliere to the Eastern Territories. 40, sharp, Dangerous, in the way intelligence is always dangerous. Miss Edwards, may I have a moment? I don't think that's appropriate. I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to offer you an exit. Janelle froze. He-jin closed the door. Chang-min Lee is dying. Whatever treatment you've developed, it's temporary. You and I both know it. You're speculating. I'm observing. Your presence isn't strategic. It's desperate. He needs you, which means your leverage. For what? For whoever recognizes your value first. My organization could use someone with your expertise. We'd pay well, protect you. And you wouldn't have to watch Chang-min collapse when your treatment inevitably fails. I'm not interested. Think about it. You're bound to a dying man. When he's gone, what happens to you? His organization won't keep you. Kwon Seoryeon will eliminate you to prevent information leaks. You know that, don't you? Janelle said nothing. Because He-jin was right. I'm offering you survival beyond Chang-min. A future where you're valued, not discarded. Consider it. She left. Janelle sat alone, the offer echoing. It happened during the second day of negotiations. Janelle was in her quarters, reading, trying not to think about He-jin's offer. The explosion came from the east wing. Close. Too close. Alarms screamed. Lights cut to emergency red. Automated lockdowns engaged. Her door sealed. Then, gunfire. Shouting. The unmistakable sounds of violence. Someone was breaching the estate's security. In the Great Hall, Chang-min was mid-sentence when his security detail surrounded him. Sir, we have a breach. Armed assault. East wing. Janelle? Secure quarters. Lockdown. Then she's the target. Because in his world, timing wasn't coincidence. The attack began precisely when Janelle was isolated, when she was vulnerable. Someone wanted her dead, or wanted her taken. Baekho, secure her. Now. Baekho and 4 operators moved toward the east wing. They made it halfway before the corridor detonated. Not explosives. Incendiary. The kind designed to create chaos, not casualties. Through the smoke, 6 figures emerged. Masked, armed, moving with military precision. They bypassed Chang-min's people. Headed straight for Janelle's quarters. She heard them coming. Footsteps. Professional. Purposeful. Her door's electronic lock disengaged. Override. Someone had access codes. Inside job. The door opened. 2 men entered. Weapons drawn. Not shooting. Extracting. Miss Edwards. Come with us. You're not safe here. Who sent you? Someone who values your life more than Chang-min does. He-jin's offer. This was the follow-through. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have a choice. One grabbed her arm. Janelle had learned 3 things in 3 years on the streets. How to run, how to hide, and how to fight when neither option existed. She drove her elbow into his throat, grabbed the knife from his belt, slashed at the second man's face. Amateur movements, survival instincts, nothing pretty, but enough to create space. She ran. Out the door, down the corridor, toward pain. Sharp, sudden. She looked down, blood spreading across her side. She'd been cut during the struggle. Deep, behind her, footsteps. They were coming. Simultaneously in the Great Hall, Chang-min doubled over. The autoimmune response. Triggered not by time, but by Janelle's distress. The proximity dependency wasn't just physical, it was physiological. When she was in danger, his body responded. He collapsed, convulsing. Bleeding from his nose. Kwon was beside him instantly. Where's Janelle? East wing under attack. Then we get her. Now. Kwon's voice cut through the room. All family delegations. Stand down. This is not our conflict. Anyone who interferes will be considered hostile. Translation. Stay out of our way or die. She grabbed Taejin Gichung. Find her. Bring her back. If she dies, he dies. Move. Baekho's team cut through the attackers like surgical instruments. No hesitation. No mercy. The kind of violence that's been practiced until it's art. They found Janelle in a service corridor, bleeding, cornered, one attacker closing in. Baekho put 3 rounds in the attacker's chest before the man registered the threat. Miss Edwards. I'm fine. You're bleeding. It's not fatal. Changmin, where's Changmin? Collapsing. Without you, he's dying. The weight of that truth drove everything else away. Then get me to him. Now. They moved through the estate. Beiko carried her when her legs gave out. No pride, no pretense, just brutal efficiency. They reached the great hall. Changmin was on the floor, surrounded by medical personnel, dying in public. Janelle dropped beside him. Connect us. Miss Edwards, you're injured. Connect us, or we both die. Dr. Kangjin, the assessor who'd examined Changmin earlier, moved with professional calm. He'd brought emergency equipment. Smart man. He connected the transfusion line, port to port. Blood flowing. Janelle's blood mixing with Changmin's. 20 seconds. His convulsions slowed. 40 seconds. His breathing steadied. 60 seconds. His eyes opened. He saw her, bleeding, pale, alive. His hand found hers. You're hurt. So are you. This is my fault. We'll fight about it later. His grip tightened. Don't leave me. I'm not going anywhere. For the first time since she'd arrived at his house, Janelle saw something in Changmin's eyes that wasn't control or calculation. Fear. Pure, human, undeniable fear. Not of death, of losing her. The summit ended early. Mutual agreement. Too much chaos. Too many questions. Back at Changmin's estate, Dr. An stitched Janelle's wound. 16 stitches. Professional work. It would scar. You were lucky. Another inch and it would have hit the intestinal wall. I don't feel lucky. You're alive. That's the only luck that matters. Changmin entered. He looked haggard, aged. The collapse had cost him. Leave us, he said quietly. Dr. An left. They sat in silence. Then, I'm sorry. Janelle looked up. For what? For bringing you into this world. For making you a target. For needing you so desperately that your existence became a weapon others could use against us. Against you. Against us. You're part of this now, whether you wanted to be or not. She laughed. Bitter. I ran because men like you never stop owning. Remember? I said that. I remember. And now I'm here. Stabbed. Nearly killed. Still bound to you. Still dying for you. Yes. And you're sorry. Yes. But not sorry enough to let me go. Silence. No, Changmin said finally. Not sorry enough for that. She nodded. At least you're honest. He moved closer. Knelt beside her chair. Janelle, don't. Whatever you're about to say, don't. Because we both know the truth. You need me. I'm dying. And nothing you say changes either of those facts. What if I told you I'm choosing you? What? Dr. An gave me the ultimatum. Your life or mine. One of us dies in 3 months. I can't have both. And? I'm choosing you. The words hung in the air like smoke. You're lying. I'm not. Yes, you are. Because choosing me means you die. And men like you don't choose death. Men like me don't fall in love with their prisoners either. Yet, here we are. Janelle's breath caught. You're not in love with me. You're dependent on me. There's a difference. Is there? Because I can't tell anymore. I don't know where the biological need ends and something else begins. Something else. Caring. About you. Not your blood. You. She wanted to believe him. Almost did. Prove it, she whispered. How? Let me go. Right now. Unlock the doors. Remove the guards. Give me my freedom. If you really care about me, not what I provide, then let me go. For a long moment, Changmin was silent. Then, I can't. Then you don't love me. You love what I give you. There's a difference. She stood, walked toward her quarters. Janelle? She stopped at the door, didn't turn. When I jumped from that ship, I thought the worst thing that could happen was drowning. But I was wrong. The worst thing is surviving just enough to realize you're still drowning. Just slower. She closed the door, leaving Changmin alone with the truth he couldn't escape. She was right, and that made everything worse. Later that night, Kwan Seorion delivered her report. The attackers were hired by Heijin Bora's organization. She wanted Miss Edwards extracted. offered her protection, employment, freedom. And Janelle refused? Apparently, which is interesting. Why? Because it suggests attachment. She had an exit. She didn't take it. Either she's playing a longer game, or what? Or she's falling for you too. Chang Min stared at nothing. I've ordered the transfusion system dismantled. Quan froze. What? You heard me. I'm ending the treatments, permanently. Chang Min, that's suicide. That's choice. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing something beyond survival. You're choosing death. I'm choosing to let her live. There's a difference. Quan studied him. You're in love with her. I'm trying not to be. I'm failing. Then find another way. There is no other way. You said it yourself. One of us dies. I'm making sure it's me. And if she doesn't want that, if she wants to keep giving you blood, then I'll refuse it, because I won't let her die for me. Not anymore. Quan shook her head. You're an idiot. Probably. But I'm an idiot who's finally doing something human. Humanity is overrated. Maybe. But it's all I have left to give her. Chapter 7. Dr. An stood in Chang Min's study at 3 a.m., staring at the order he'd just given her. Medical directive. Transfusion protocol termination. Effective. Immediately. Authority. Chang Min Lee. You understand what this means, she said quietly. I understand. You'll be dead in 72 hours. Maybe less. I know. And Miss Edwards? When she discovers you've stopped treatments because of her? She'll be free. That's all that matters. Doctor. An set down the file. I've worked with you for 15 years. I've watched you make ruthless decisions without hesitation. This is the most ruthless thing you've ever done. How? Because you're forcing her to watch you die. You're making her live with the knowledge that she could have saved you, and you refused. That's not mercy. That's torture. Chang Min's expression remained steady, but something flickered behind his eyes. What would you have me do? Keep draining her blood until her marrow fails? Watch her deteriorate while I thrive? Become exactly the monster she accused me of being? I'd have you survive, like you've always done. At what cost? Any cost. That's what survival means. No, survival without humanity is just prolonged death. I've been dying for 20 years. I'm finally choosing to die like a man instead of a machine. Dr. An studied him. She's changed you. She's reminded me, I used to be capable of caring about something beyond power. And if she doesn't want your sacrifice, then she'll have to live with it, the way I've lived with every sacrifice I've demanded from others. Dr. An picked up the directive. I'll implement it, but I'm telling you now this won't end the way you think it will. Nothing ever does. Janelle knew something was wrong when she woke for the morning transfusion, and no one came. 6 a.m. passed. 7 a.m. By 8 a.m., she went looking for answers. Nurse Yunhui was in the medical suite, packing equipment. What's happening? Miss Edwards? Where's the transfusion equipment? Why isn't anyone prepping? Mr. Lee has terminated the treatment protocol. The words didn't register at first. Terminated? He's ordered all transfusions stopped, effective immediately. That's insane. He'll die. He's aware. Janelle's mind raced. Where is he? In his study. But he's asked not to be disturbed. Janelle was already moving. She burst through the study doors without knocking. Chang Min sat at his desk. Paperwork spread before him. He looked up, unsurprised. Janelle? What did you do? I ended the treatments. Why? Because you were right. I was killing you, and I can't live with that anymore. She stared at him. So instead you're killing yourself? I'm dying anyway. This way, you live. I don't want to live if it means watching you die. The words escaped before she could stop them. Silence. Chang Min stood slowly. What did you say? You heard me. Say it again. No. Janelle? You don't get to make this decision alone. This isn't just your life, it's mine too. We're connected. Biologically, not by choice. Choice? I've been here 4 months. 4 months of proximity, of conversations, of watching you be human instead of a monster. You think that didn't change things? It shouldn't have. But it did. And now you're throwing it away because of what, guilt? Nobility? Some misguided attempt at redemption? I'm trying to save you. I don't need saving from you. I need you to stop being a coward. He flinched. Actually flinched. Coward? Yes. Because it's easier to die nobly than to live with the consequences of caring about someone. You're not sacrificing yourself for me, you're escaping. Again. That's not. Yes, it is. You've spent 20 years running from anything that makes you vulnerable. Now you finally have something real, something human, and you're choosing death over staying and fighting for it. Chang Min moved around the desk. You think I want to die? I think you want to avoid choosing. This way you get to play the martyr while I live with the guilt. That's not love. That's manipulation. Love? His voice cracked. You think I love you? Don't you? The question hung between them. Yes, Chang Min said finally. God help me, yes. Then fight. For once in your life, stop calculating the costs and just fight. I don't know how. Then learn. Because I'm not letting you die to make yourself feel better about what you've done to me. What if there's no solution? Then we find one. Together. But you don't get to make this choice alone. He stared at her. Why do you care? I've imprisoned you. Drained your blood. Made you a target. Why does my life matter to you? Janelle took a breath. Because you're the first person in 3 years who looked at me and saw a person instead of a problem. Because you chose me over your empire. Because when that knife cut me, the first thing you asked was if I was okay, not if the threat was neutralized. She moved closer. Because I jumped from a ship into black water thinking death was better than what was waiting. And you're making me want to stay alive. Even when it's hard. Even when it hurts. You make me want to fight. Chang Min's control finally shattered. He closed the distance between them. Not clinical. Not calculated. Human. His hand cupped her face. I'm terrified. Of dying? Of this. Of caring more about you than survival. Of choosing you and watching you die anyway. Of having something to lose. Welcome to being human. It's awful. He laughed. Broken. Real. Janelle, She kissed him. Not gentle. Not romantic. Desperate. The kiss of two people who'd spent months circling each other and finally stopped running. When they broke apart, both were shaking. Don't die, she whispered. Please. Not when I finally have something worth staying alive for. 3 hours later, Quan Sirian called an emergency meeting. Chang Min, Janelle, Dr. An, Bekho, the inner circle. There's an option we haven't explored. Everyone turned. Replacement donor, Quan said bluntly. We find someone else. Transfer the dependency. Free Janelle while keeping Chang Min alive. We've tried, Dr. An said. No matches. Because we've been searching ethically. What if we expand parameters? Force compatibility through genetic modification? Create a synthetic match? That's experimental. So was everything about this situation. We have 3 months. Resources. If we commit to finding a solution beyond binary choice, maybe we can. Chang Min looked at Janelle. What do you think? I think I don't want either of us to die. If there's even a chance. There isn't, Doctor. An interrupted. I've consulted every specialist. The autoimmune response is too specific. Even if we could create a synthetic match, implementation would take years. We don't have years. Silence. Then Janelle spoke. What if we slow my degradation? How? Reduce transfusion frequency. Find the minimum amount of blood that keeps Chang Min stable. Extend my timeline. You'll be in pain. Constant. Your body is already struggling. Pain I can handle, death I can't. Chang Min grabbed her hand. No, I won't let you. It's not your choice anymore. You taught me that. We're both prisoners. We both get to decide how we survive. Dr. An looked between them. If we reduce frequency, Chang Min's symptoms will return. Partially, not fatal, but debilitating. How debilitating? Pain, weakness, loss of function. He won't be able to run the organization at full capacity. Quan leaned forward. Then we redistribute operational authority, temporary delegation, until we find a permanent solution. There is no permanent solution. Then we create one. Because what I'm seeing here is two people choosing suffering over death. If they're willing to fight, we help them fight. Changmin looked at Janelle. You understand what this means? Months of pain. For both of us, with no guarantee it works. I understand. But I'd rather suffer together than grieve alone. He kissed her forehead. You're insane. I learned from the best. Dr. An designed a reduced transfusion schedule. Every 3 days instead of daily. Half the blood volume. Enough to suppress Changmin's autoimmune response without destroying Janelle's marrow. The first 3 days were hell. Changmin's symptoms returned with vengeance. Fever, tremors, internal bleeding. Not catastrophic, but brutal. He suffered in private. Refused pain medication. Refused to let anyone see him weak. Except Janelle. She sat with him through the worst of it. Held his hand when he convulsed. Wiped his face when fever drenched him in sweat. You don't have to watch this, he said. Yes, I do. Why? Because you watched me bleed. Fair's fair. On the 3rd day, they connected the transfusion. Changmin stabilized within minutes. The relief on his face was worth every compromise. That night, unable to sleep, Janelle asked the question she'd been avoiding. How did you become this? The person who rules through fear? Changmin was quiet for a long time. I was 19. My father had just died, left me the organization. I was untested, weak. The lieutenants circled like sharks. He stared at nothing, remembering. One of them, Yulhak Hodong, made a move, challenged my authority publicly, said I was too young, too soft. He had support, half the organization. What did you do? I called a meeting. Every lieutenant, every captain. I stood in front of them and gave them a choice. Follow me or follow Yulhak. And? Yulhak had more votes, by a significant margin. So I walked to where he sat, looked him in the eye, and thanked him. Janelle frowned. For what? For showing me exactly who couldn't be trusted. Changmin's expression hardened at the memory. Then I executed him. In front of everyone. Not because he challenged me, because he taught me the only lesson that mattered. Power isn't given, it's taken. And maintained through absolute clarity about consequences. You killed him to prove a point. I killed him to survive. And in doing so, became the kind of man who kills to survive. 20 years of that. 20 years of choosing power over humanity. Do you regret it? I regret what it cost, but not what it accomplished. That man Yulhak, he would have destroyed everything my father built. He would have led with emotion instead of strategy. Would have gotten people killed through incompetence. So you became ruthlessly competent instead. Yes. And forgot how to be anything else. Yes. Janelle took his hand. I think part of you wanted to forget, because being human hurt too much after your mother died. Changmin looked at her. How do you do that? Do what? See through everything I've built to protect myself and still not run. Because I recognize it. I built the same walls, just with different materials. They sat in shared silence. 2 survivors. 2 people who'd learned to survive by becoming something less than human. Now trying to remember how to be more. A week later, Dr. An delivered devastating news. I found something. Everyone gathered. A potential replacement donor. Compatibility isn't perfect, maybe 70%, but with genetic modification, we could bring it to 90. Hope sparked. Then, who is it? Dr. An pulled up a file. A girl, 15 years old, currently in a Hong Kong hospital, comatose from a car accident, brain dead. Her family is considering organ donation. The room froze. You want to harvest her blood profile? Janelle's voice was ice. Not harvest. Utilize. She's already gone. Her body could save Changmin. She's a child. She's brain dead. There's a difference. No, there isn't. Because what you're suggesting is exactly what was done to me. Someone decided I was disposable. Sold my information. Turned me into a commodity. Dr. An hesitated. Miss Edwards, I understand your objection, but what? But she's already dying, so it's fine? But we need her so her life doesn't matter? Changmin stood. Janelle's right. We're not doing this. Sir. I said no, we don't sacrifice children to save adults, ever. That's the line. Quan leaned forward. Even if it means your death? Especially then. Because if I'm willing to kill a child to survive, I don't deserve to. Dr. An closed the file. Then you have 3 months. Maybe less, that's your timeline. Then we make those 3 months count. That night, Janelle made a decision. She found Chang Min in his study. I want to continue the daily transfusions. No, the reduced schedule is working. It's killing you slowly. I can see it. The pain, the weakness, you're suffering to give me more time. That's my choice. And this is mine. I want to give you those 3 months. Healthy, strong, human, not suffering. Janelle, the daily transfusions will kill me faster, I know. But I'd rather have 3 good months with you than 6 months of watching you deteriorate. I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking, I'm offering. She moved closer. Chang Min, you gave me my father's life. You've given me protection, safety. And her voice broke slightly. Something I never thought I'd have again. Someone who sees me. You're asking me to let you die for me. I'm asking you to let me choose. For the first time in 3 years, let me choose what happens to me. He stared at her. I can't. Why? Because I love you. And loving you means protecting you, even from yourself. Then love me enough to respect my choice. For a long moment, silence. Then Chang Min pulled her close, not speaking, just holding her. 3 months, he whispered finally. We have 3 months to find a miracle. And if we don't, then we have 3 months together. That's more than most people get. The next morning, Dr. An revised the protocol. Daily transfusions resumed. Chang Min's health improved immediately. Janelle's began its final decline. But for the first time since either of them could remember, they weren't just surviving. They were living, and that made all the difference. Even knowing how it would end. Chapter 8. 2 months into the revised protocol, Janelle woke to find blood on her pillow. Not from a wound, from her nose. The kind of spontaneous bleeding that meant her body was failing in ways medicine couldn't reverse. She cleaned it before anyone could see, washed the pillowcase, applied concealer to the dark circles that no amount of sleep could erase. In the mirror, she barely recognized herself. The woman staring back was thinner, paler. Her eyes carried exhaustion that went beyond physical. This was the tiredness of someone whose body was consuming itself to keep another person alive. She had 4 weeks left. Maybe 5. Dr. An's latest projections were clinical in their brutality. Marrow function, 23% capacity. Projected failure point, 18 to 26 days. And recommendation, palliative care transition. Janelle had burned the report before Chang Min could see it. Not because she was afraid of death, because she was afraid of how he'd react to her dying. Chang Min, meanwhile, had never been healthier. The daily transfusions worked perfectly. His color returned, his strength. The man who'd been dying 4 months ago now moved like someone in their prime. But health came with a price he hadn't anticipated. Guilt. Every morning, he watched Janelle grow weaker while he grew stronger. Watched her force smiles through exhaustion. Watched her pretend the tremors in her hands were nothing. You need to stop, he told her after she nearly collapsed during a transfusion. I'm fine. You're dying. So we don't have much time. Let's not waste it arguing. He wanted to rage, to overturn furniture, to demand she stop sacrificing herself. But she'd chosen this, and respecting her choice meant watching her die. It was the most powerless he'd felt in 20 years. The organization sensed the shift. Not in Chang Min's health that was better than ever, but in his focus. He delegated more, canceled meetings, spent hours in private quarters instead of commanding his empire. Quan addressed it directly. The lieutenants are noticing. Noticing what? That you're distracted, that decisions are taking longer, that your priority is no longer the organization. My priority is surviving. Your survival requires the organization's stability. Right now, it's fracturing. Then stabilize it. I can't. Not without your authority. Not when everyone sees you're compromised. By what? By her. Quan's tone wasn't accusatory, just factual. You're in love with a dying woman. It's making you weak. It's making me human. In our world, those are the same thing. Changmin looked at her. Then maybe I'm done with this world. Quan froze. What are you saying? I'm saying I've spent 20 years building power I didn't enjoy, accumulating wealth I don't need, commanding respect through fear. And for what? For survival. For isolation. I survived, but I forgot to live. Janelle reminded me there's a difference. So you're abandoning everything we've built? No. I'm choosing what matters before it's too late. Quan studied him. And when she's gone, what then? Then I'm gone too. You'd let the autoimmune condition kill you. I'd let biology take its course. Yes, that's suicide. That's choice. The same choice Janelle made, to die with dignity instead of desperately clinging to survival at any cost. Quan was silent for a long moment. I disagree with your decision, but I understand it. She stood. I'll prepare succession protocols. When you're gone, the organization will need structure. Give it to Baiko. He's earned it. He's a soldier, not a leader. Then teach him. You've been teaching me for 15 years. Do the same for him. And if he refuses? He won't, because unlike me, he actually wants this life. Within 48 hours, rival families received the leaked intelligence. Changmin Li, compromised. Medical dependency, confirmed. Operational effectiveness, declining. Recommendation, territorial acquisition. 3 families began mobilizing. Yongray Sungmin northern ports. Ilsun Daehyun southern territories. Jeosan Taeyang western routes. Each saw opportunity in Changmin's distraction. Quan brought the intelligence to Changmin and Janelle. They're coming. 3 coordinated moves, probably within the week. Changmin studied the reports. What are our defensive capabilities? Strong, but not invincible. If all 3 attack simultaneously, we'll be stretched thin. Can we negotiate? They smell blood. Negotiation is weakness. Then we fight. You're not in any condition. Not me, the organization. I'll transfer tactical authority to Baiko. Let him command the response. Quan hesitated. That's effectively abdicating. That's delegating. There's a difference. Changmin, if you step back now, even temporarily, you may not be able to step back in. The organization will see it as weakness, permanent weakness. Then they see it. I don't care anymore. Janelle spoke quietly. You should care. Everyone turned. This organization, your empire, it's not just about you. Thousands of people depend on it for income, for protection, for structure. If you let it collapse because you're distracted by me, those people suffer. I'm not letting it collapse. You're not protecting it either. You're choosing me over them. I appreciate that, but they don't deserve to be sacrificed because I'm dying. Changmin stared at her. What are you saying? I'm saying, fight. Protect what you've built. Ensure the organization survives even if we don't. You want me to abandon you. I want you to be the leader they need, even if it means spending less time with me. No. Changmin. No. I've spent 20 years sacrificing humanity for power. I'm not doing it again. Not when I finally have something worth choosing over survival. He stood. Quan, implement defensive protocols. Baiko commands tactical response. I'll handle strategic oversight. But my priority is Janelle. Anyone who has a problem with that can challenge me directly. Quan nodded slowly. Understood. After she left, Janelle grabbed Changmin's hand. You're making a mistake. I'm making a choice. There's a difference. Your enemies will exploit it. Then they exploit it. But I won't spend your last days commanding violence instead of being with you. I'm not worth it. Yes, you are. You're worth more than everything I've built. Because buildings don't care if you exist, people do. And you've made me remember how to care about someone beyond myself. She wanted to argue. Couldn't. Because for the first time in 3 years, someone valued her life above everything else. And that was terrifying and beautiful in equal measure. The coordinated attack came at dawn. 3 families. Simultaneous strikes against Changmin's pharmaceutical routes, shipping corridors, and offshore accounts. Not attempting to destroy, attempting to sever, to isolate, to slowly bleed the organization of resources until it collapsed from within. Beiko commanded the defense from the estate's operations center. Changmin watched from remote monitors, advisory only. Janelle sat beside him, transfusion connected, her blood flowing into him while his empire burned on screens. "You should be there," she said. "I'm exactly where I need to be. They're losing the northern ports. Beiko will adapt. He's capable. Because you taught him." "Yes." "Then, trust him enough to command without you watching." Changmin looked at her. "You're trying to get rid of me. I'm trying to let you do what you're good at. You can protect me and lead simultaneously. Stop pretending you have to choose." "I do have to choose. That's the whole point." "No. The point is that you're human again. That doesn't mean you stop being effective." She reached over, disconnected the transfusion line early. "Go. Lead. I'll be here when you're finished." "Janelle, I'm not dying in the next 3 hours, but your organization might. Go." He entered the operations center like returning from exile. Beiko looked up, surprised. "Sir," I thought. "You're doing well. Continue tactical command. I'm here for strategic oversight." Relief flooded Beiko's expression. Changmin studied the tactical displays. 3 simultaneous assaults, coordinated timing, professional execution. Someone had been planning this for months. Status? Northern ports. Compromised. We've lost 2 warehouses. Southern territories. Holding, but barely. Western routes? They hit our accounts first. We've lost access to approximately 40 billion in liquid assets. Who's coordinating? Unknown. Communications are encrypted, but the sophistication suggests internal intelligence. Changmin's eyes narrowed. Someone inside leaked operational details. That's our assessment. Then we have 2 problems: the external assault and the internal betrayal. He pulled up communication channels. Redirect forces from the eastern manufacturing facilities. Those are low-priority targets. They're not attacking there, which means they don't know about them. Move those personnel to defend the southern territories. Hold that line. Sir, that leaves eastern manufacturing undefended. They don't know it exists. Our leak didn't have that information. It's secure through ignorance. Beiko smiled grimly. Clever. We don't win through strength alone. We win through knowing what the enemy doesn't. For the next 4 hours, Changmin commanded like he hadn't in months. Strategic, decisive, brutal, when necessary. The northern ports were lost. But he secured the southern territories and protected the western accounts by moving assets through channels the attackers didn't know existed. By noon, the assault had stalled. By evening, it had collapsed. 3 families had committed resources expecting easy victory. Instead, they found organized, intelligent resistance. They retreated, regrouped, and Changmin's reputation, briefly questioned, was reinforced. He returned to Janelle's quarters at midnight. She was asleep, pale, fragile. The transfusion had been delayed 6 hours while he commanded the defense. Her body was paying for his absence. Dr. An entered quietly. She's stable, but the delay accelerated her decline. She has 3 weeks, maybe less. Can we extend it? Not without killing her faster. The transfusions are keeping you alive while destroying her. There's no balance anymore, only mathematics. Changmin sank into a chair beside Janelle's bed. I'm killing her. You're both making choices. She chose to give you time. You're choosing how to spend it. By commanding violence instead of being with her. By ensuring the organization survives after you're both gone. That's not selfishness, that's responsibility. It feels like betrayal. Then you're finally understanding what leadership costs. Dr. An left. Changmin took Janelle's hand. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm sorry I'm not stronger. Sorry I can't save you. Sorry I'm wasting the time we have left on violence and strategy instead of just being with you. Her eyes opened. You didn't waste it. I thought you were asleep. I was. Your guilt woke me up. Despite everything, he smiled. I'm that transparent? To me. Yes. She squeezed his hand weakly. You did the right thing. You protected what you've built. That's not betrayal. That's who you are. Who I was? I'm trying to be something different now. You can be both. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Being human doesn't mean abandoning leadership. It means leading with humanity. I don't know how. Then learn. You have 3 weeks. The number hung between them. 3 weeks. Not enough time. Never enough time. Over the next week, Janelle began preparing for death with the same practical efficiency she'd applied to survival. She wrote letters. One to her father thanking him for teaching her resilience even when he was struggling himself. One to Nurse Yunhui, apologizing for being a difficult patient. One to Dr. An, thanking her for treating Janelle like a person instead of a medical resource. One to Kwan Xiaoryun, asking her to protect Cheng Min after Janelle was gone. And one to Cheng Min, which she sealed and asked Dr. An to deliver only after she died. What does it say? Cheng Min asked, when he discovered she'd written it. If I wanted you to know now, I wouldn't have sealed it. Janelle, promise me you'll read it, after, not before. Why? Because what I need to say will be easier for both of us if I'm not there to watch you read it. He wanted to argue. Instead, he promised. 2 weeks before the end, Janelle asked Cheng Min to take her somewhere. Where? The docks. Where you found me. Why? Because I want to see it again. The place I jumped, the place I survived, the place your people found me. You're too weak. I'm dying. Weak doesn't matter anymore. They went at dawn. The industrial shoreline looked the same. Rust, shipping containers, the smell of diesel and salt water. Janelle stood at the water's edge. I thought if I jumped far enough, I'd be free. But I just traded one cage for another. Do you regret it? Coming here? No. Because that cage led me to you. And you. Her voice broke. You made me remember what it felt like to be human, instead of just surviving. Cheng Min pulled her close. You saved me. Not just medically. You saved me from becoming something irredeemable. Did I? You made me choose. For 20 years, I never chose anything beyond survival. You taught me there's more. They stood in silence, watching the sunrise. I don't want to die, Janelle whispered. I know, but I'm not afraid. Not anymore. Why? Because I'm not dying alone, and I'm not dying meaningless. I'm dying having mattered to someone. You matter more than you know. Then promise me something. Anything. After I'm gone, don't follow me. Don't let the autoimmune condition kill you out of guilt or grief. Find another way. Live. Janelle. Promise me, because my death only matters if something good comes from it. If you die too, I'll have died for nothing. He wanted to refuse. To tell her he couldn't survive without her, but she'd given him everything. The least he could do was give her this. I promise. She didn't believe him, but she accepted it anyway. That night, Cheng Min made the choice he'd been avoiding for weeks. He called Dr. An to his study. I want to stop the transfusions. Sir, not reduce them. Stop them. Completely. You'll die within 72 hours. And Janelle will live another month. Maybe 2. She's going to die regardless. But not because of me. Not anymore. I've taken enough from her. I won't take her last weeks. Dr. An studied him. She'll fight this decision. Then she'll fight. But I'm done compromising her life for mine. You're choosing to die. I'm choosing to let her live. There's a difference. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, you're both committing suicide. No. I'm finally learning what she tried to teach me. That some things matter more than survival. Like dying knowing you chose humanity over self-preservation. Dr. An was quiet for a long moment. I'll implement it. But Cheng Min, this is the right choice. The human choice. But it's going to destroy her to watch you die. I know. But at least she'll be alive to grieve. That's more than she'd have if I keep taking her blood. She found out the next morning, when no one came for the transfusion. She confronted Cheng Min in the garden. What did you do? What I should have done months ago. You stopped the treatments. Yes. Why? Because I love you. And loving you means letting you live, even if it costs me everything. She stared at him. You promised me you'd fight. I did fight. For months. But this isn't a fight I can win. So I'm choosing how I lose. And I'm losing in a way that means you survive. I don't want to survive without you. Yes, you do. You're just afraid to admit it. Don't tell me what I want. You jumped off a ship because you wanted to live. You survived 3 years on the streets because you wanted to live. You made a deal with me because you wanted your father to live. Every choice you've made has been about survival. Don't stop now. That was before. Before what? Before you had something to live for beyond just not dying? Janelle, you matter. Your life matters. Not because of what you give me, because of who you are. She was crying now. You're abandoning me. I'm setting you free. There's a difference. No, there isn't. You're dying and calling it noble. I'm dying and calling it choice. My choice. The way you chose to give me these months. Now I'm choosing to give you the rest of your life. How long do you have? Days. Maybe a week. Her legs gave out. He caught her. They sank to the ground together, holding each other while the sun rose over the garden. I hate you, she whispered. I know. I love you. I know that too. Don't leave me. I'm not leaving. I'm right here, until I'm not. Changmin deteriorated rapidly without the transfusions. The autoimmune response returned with catastrophic efficiency. His body, having been stabilized for months, now collapsed with brutal speed. 72 hours became 48. 48 became 24. Janelle never left his side. They talked about everything, about nothing, about Jamaica, about Korea, about the lives they'd imagined before reality taught them imagination was a luxury. What would you have done? Changmin asked on the second day. If you hadn't been trafficked? I wanted to be a teacher. Help kids who came from nothing realize they could become something. You would have been good at it. I'll never know. Yes, you will. After this, after I'm gone, you'll have resources, money, freedom. You can do whatever you want. I want you alive. That's not an option. So choose something else. She thought about it. I want to help people like me, people who've been sold, trafficked, disappeared. I want to find them before they jump into black water thinking death is better. Then do it. Use my resources. Build something that matters. I don't know how. Quan will help. I've already arranged it. After I'm gone, she'll transfer operational funds to an account in your name. Use it however you want. Changmin. Promise me. Promise me you'll build something good from this. Otherwise, my death is just another body added to the pile of people I've sacrificed. She took his hand. Weakly now, he could barely grip back. I promise. On the third night, Changmin's breathing became labored. Dr. An confirmed what everyone already knew. Hours, not days. Janelle climbed into bed beside him. Carefully, his body was so fragile now. Tell me about your mother, she whispered. He smiled weakly. Why? Because I want to know what you were like before the world broke you. So he told her. About a woman who sang while cooking, who taught him that kindness wasn't weakness, who died holding his hand, promising everything would be okay even though they both knew it wouldn't. She lied, Changmin said, but I appreciated it anyway. She didn't lie. She just believed in a different definition of okay. Which is, that love matters more than survival. That who you are when everything ends matters more than what you accomplished while you were here. Do you believe that? I'm starting to. They lay in silence, listening to each other breathe. Janelle? Yes? Thank you. For what? For making me human again. Even if it was just for a few months. You were always human. You just forgot. No. I chose to forget. There's a difference. His breathing slowed. Janelle held him tighter. Don't go, she whispered. I'm right here. Promise me you'll wait. On the other side, however that works, promise me you'll wait. I promise. His hand found hers, squeezed weakly. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. 3 hours later, as dawn broke over Busan, Changmin Li stopped breathing. Janelle held him as his body went still. And for the first time in 4 months, she was truly alone. But Changmin Li had one final gift. Something he'd arranged weeks ago. Something that would change everything. and Janelle wouldn't discover it until she read the letter he'd left for her. The one that began, "If you're reading this, I'm gone. But you're not, and that was always the point." Chapter 9. The funeral was small. Not because Changmin Lee lacked people who knew him, but because most people who knew him feared him too much to mourn publicly. The attendees were few: Kwon Seoryeon, Baeko, Jungwon, Dr. An Myung-suk, Nurse Yeonhui Dalnim, and a handful of senior lieutenants who'd served long enough to see the man beneath the reputation. And Janelle? She stood at the gravesite in clothes Kwon had arranged. Black dress, simple. The kind of mourning that doesn't draw attention. She didn't cry during the service. Crying required energy she no longer had. Without the daily transfusions, her body was slowly stabilizing. The marrow degradation had slowed, not stopped, but slowed. Dr. An estimated she had 6 months, maybe a year if they implemented aggressive treatment. Time she'd purchased with Chang Min's death. The irony wasn't lost on her. 3 days after the funeral, Kwon delivered the letter Chang Min had written. "He asked me to wait until you were ready." "I'm not ready." "Then perhaps it's time anyway." Janelle took the envelope. Heavy paper. His handwriting on the front, Janelle. She waited until she was alone to open it. "Janelle, if you're reading this, I'm gone. But you're not, and that was always the point. I've spent 20 years learning how to survive. You spent 3 months teaching me how to live. The difference is everything. You asked me once what I'd choose, my life or yours. I told you I didn't know. That was true then. But I know now. I choose yours. Not because you're more valuable. Not because I'm noble. But because for the first time in 2 decades, someone made me want to be better than I was. And being better meant choosing something beyond self-preservation. You saved my life. Not with your blood, with your humanity. You reminded me what I'd sacrificed to survive, and you made me realize the cost was too high. By the time you read this, Kwon will have transferred approximately 8.5 billion to an account in your name. That's half my liquid assets. The other half goes to operational continuity. Use it however you want. But I'm going to make a request. Build something that matters. Create something that prevents what happened to you from happening to others. Turn your survival into salvation for people who are still drowning. You said you wanted to help people, like you people who've been sold, trafficked, disappeared. So do it. Build an organization. Fund rescue operations. Create safe houses. Give them what no one gave us. A choice. I've also arranged something else. Something I discovered 6 weeks ago but didn't tell you because I wasn't sure it would work. Dr. An found a specialist in Geneva, Dr. Iselin Valentin, who's been researching autoimmune disorders triggered by transfusion complications. She's developed an experimental treatment protocol. Not a cure, but a management system that could extend your life significantly. The treatment is expensive. 400 million for the initial protocol. I've already paid it. Dr. An has your appointment scheduled for 3 weeks from now. Go to Geneva. Get the treatment. Live. I know you'll feel guilty. Like accepting help from me even after I'm gone is somehow betraying yourself. It's not. It's accepting that you deserve to survive. That your life has value beyond what you give others. You jumped into black water 3 years ago thinking death was better than what was waiting. You were wrong. What was waiting was harder than you imagined. But you survived it anyway. Now survive this. Live for yourself. Live for your father. Live for the people you're going to save. But mostly, live because you want to, not because you have to. Not out of obligation, or guilt, or desperation. Live because you finally learned what I spent 20 years forgetting. That being human, messy, complicated, vulnerable, human is worth more than all the power in the world. Thank you for teaching me that. Thank you for not giving up on me when you should have. Thank you for making my last months mean something beyond survival. I loved you, not perfectly, not without cost, but honestly, and in my world, honesty was the rarest gift I could give. Be better than I was. Build something I never could. And if there's anything after this, anything beyond biology and mathematics, I'll be waiting. Like I promised. Chang Min. P.S. The second account Quan will show you contains funds specifically allocated for your father's care. Lifetime medical coverage, private facility, whatever he needs. You don't have to worry about him anymore. P.S. I lied about one thing. I didn't choose your life over mine because I was noble. I chose it because the idea of existing without you was worse than not existing at all. So really, I was still selfish. Just in a different way. I thought you should know. Janelle read the letter 3 times. Then she cried. Not the silent tears she'd shed at his bedside. Full, wrenching sobs that came from somewhere deeper than grief. This was the crying of someone who'd been holding everything together and finally had permission to fall apart. That evening, Quan Seorion appeared at Janelle's quarters. She carried a tablet and a leather portfolio. May I? Janelle nodded. Quan sat. Changmin left specific instructions regarding his estate and organizational continuity. I'm here to execute those instructions. She pulled up documents on the tablet. First, financial transfers. As stated in his letter, 8.5 billion has been moved to an account in your name. No restrictions, no conditions. You can access it immediately. I don't want it. Then donate it, use it, burn it, but it's yours. He was very clear about that. Janelle said nothing. Second, your father's medical care. I've established a trust fund containing 2 billion. The interest alone will cover his treatment indefinitely. He's currently in a private facility in Seoul. Top-tier care. He's doing well. Relief flooded Janelle's features. Does he know about Changmin? He knows you were working for someone important who recently passed. He doesn't know the details. That's your choice to share or not. Thank you. Third, the treatment in Geneva. Dr. An will accompany you. The appointment is confirmed for 3 weeks from now. All expenses covered. Janelle nodded. And finally, Quan opened the portfolio. This is something Changmin worked on privately, a proposal. She handed Janelle a document titled The Edwards Foundation Operational Framework. Inside were detailed plans for a non-profit organization focused on trafficking victim recovery, rescue operations, and long-term support systems. Locations, staff projections, budget allocations, legal structures. Everything needed to build exactly what Janelle had described wanting to do. He spent the last 6 weeks designing this, with your help or without it. But he hoped you'd lead it. Janelle stared at the plans. He built my dream. He built a framework. You have to make it real. I don't know how to run an organization. Then learn. I'll help. So will Beiko. Changmin left instructions for us to provide whatever support you need. Why? Because he believed you'd do something meaningful with it. And because. Quan hesitated. Because watching him become human again reminded me I used to be human too. Before this life consumed everything else. So you're helping me out of guilt? I'm helping you because Changmin's last request was that I protect you. And protecting you means ensuring you have the resources to build the life he wanted you to have. Janelle looked at the plans. At the money. At the opportunity. What if I fail? Then you fail having tried. That's more than most people can say. 3 weeks later, Janelle flew to Geneva. Dr. An accompanied her, along with Beiko, who insisted on security despite Janelle's protests that she wasn't important enough to protect anymore. You're Changmin's legacy, he said simply. That makes you important. Dr. Iselin Valentin's clinic was hidden in the Swiss Alps. Private, discreet, the kind of medical facility that treated problems other doctors wouldn't touch. The treatment was brutal. Genetic modification, bone marrow regeneration, immune system recalibration. It took 3 weeks. But it worked. Not a cure, but management. Janelle's marrow function improved to 67%. Her prognosis extended from 6 months to 5 years, maybe more with continued treatment. You'll never be fully healthy, Dr. Valentin explained, but you'll be functional, alive. That's more than you had. When Janelle returned to Korea, she looked different. Not physically, but something in her eyes had changed. She'd been dying. Now she wasn't, and that made everything different. 6 months after Changmin's death, the Edwards Foundation officially launched. Headquarters in Busan. Satellite offices in Bangkok, Manila, and Kingston. The mission: locate trafficking victims, provide immediate rescue, offer long-term support. Janelle hired survivors to staff it. People who understood what it meant to be sold, to be disappeared, to be treated like commodities. Kwan helped with operational logistics. Baiko provided security. Dr. An established medical protocols. But Janelle led. Not perfectly. She made mistakes, hired wrong people, allocated resources poorly, failed more than she succeeded in those first months. But she learned, and slowly, the foundation began saving people. One at a time, then dozens, then hundreds. Each rescue was another life that didn't have to jump into black water. Each person saved was Changmin's legacy made real. 8 months after Changmin's death, Janelle's father was declared cancer-free. The experimental treatment had worked. She visited him in Seoul. He looked better than he had in years. Healthy? Alive? "You did this," he said. "I had help. From the man you worked for." "Yes. Was he good to you?" Janelle thought about it. He was complicated. But yes, in the end, he was good to me. Then I'm grateful to him. Me too. They sat in silence. "Janelle, what you're building, the foundation, it's important work. I'm trying. Your mother would be proud." It was the first time he'd mentioned her in years. "I hope so. I know so. Because you're doing what she always said, turning pain into purpose." On the anniversary of Changmin's death, Janelle returned to his grave. It was unmarked. By his request, just a stone in a private cemetery that overlooked the ocean. She brought flowers, stood in silence. "I built it," she said quietly. "The foundation. It's working. We've rescued 237 people in the last year, girls mostly, some boys. All of them alive because you gave me the resources to find them." Wind rustled through trees. "I'm going to Geneva again next month. Treatment maintenance. Dr. Valentine says my prognosis is good. 5 years minimum. Maybe more." She knelt beside the stone. "I miss you. I hate that I miss you. Because you kidnapped me, imprisoned me, drained my blood, and nearly killed me. But you also saw me. When everyone else looked through me, you saw me. Tears now. I wish you'd lived. I wish we'd had more time. I wish a lot of things that can't be changed." She placed the flowers on the grave. "But I'm doing what you asked. I'm building something good. I'm turning survival into salvation. I'm being human instead of just not dying." She stood. "Thank you. For choosing me. For teaching me that some things matter more than survival. For making me remember that being vulnerable isn't weakness." She turned to leave. Then stopped. "I loved you too. Not perfectly. Not without cost. But honestly." She walked back toward the car, where Baiko waited. Behind her, the ocean stretched toward the horizon, the same water she'd jumped into 3 years ago, thinking death was better than what was waiting. She'd been wrong. What was waiting was harder than she'd imagined. But it was also more beautiful. The Edwards Foundation's second annual gala was held in a converted warehouse in Busan. 300 attendees, donors, survivors, supporters. Janelle stood at the podium, looking out at faces that represented second chances. 2 years ago, I was dying, not just physically, emotionally. I'd forgotten what it meant to have value beyond survival, to matter for who I was instead of what I could provide. She paused. Someone reminded me, someone who was also dying, who'd also forgotten how to be human. Together, we learned imperfectly, messily, that survival isn't the same as living. This foundation exists because someone chose my life over his own, because someone believed I could turn suffering into purpose, because someone saw value in saving people who'd been taught they were disposable. She looked at the crowd. Every person we've rescued represents a choice. The choice to value human life beyond its utility, the choice to believe everyone deserves a second chance, the choice to be vulnerable enough to care even when it costs everything. I don't know if what we're doing matters in the grand scheme of things, but it matters to the 237 people who are alive because we chose them. And that's enough. Applause. Janelle stepped down from the podium. Guan approached. Well delivered. Changmin would have hated the sentimentality. Changmin would have been proud. You think? I know. Because he spent his last months becoming the person he wished he'd been his entire life. And you're living proof he succeeded. That night, Janelle returned to her apartment. Small, comfortable. Nothing like Changmin's estate. She poured tea, sat by the window, overlooking the city. On her desk, a framed photograph, her and Changmin in the garden, taken 3 days before he died. His arm around her shoulders, both smiling despite knowing the end was near. Beside it, his letter, worn from reading. And beside that, a new letter she'd written but never sent. Because there was nowhere to send it. Changmin, it's been 2 years. I'm still here, still alive, still building what you started. Some days are hard. I miss you more than I thought possible. I catch myself wanting to tell you about a rescue, or a challenge, or just something small that happened. Then I remember you're gone. But you're not really gone, are you? Because everything I do is built on what you gave me. Not just money, not just resources. You gave me belief, that I mattered, that my life had value, that surviving could become something more than just not dying. I carry that with me. The foundation is thriving. We're expanding to 3 more countries next year. We've partnered with Interpol to identify trafficking networks before they claim victims. We're saving people, Changmin. The way you saved me, I think about what you said, that you chose my life because you loved me. I understand now what you meant. Love isn't about possession. It's about wanting someone to exist, even if their existence doesn't include you. You loved me enough to die so I could live. I'm trying to love others the same way, loving them enough to give them the choices I never had, the freedom you finally gave me. I hope that makes you proud. I hope, wherever you are, you know your death wasn't meaningless. It was the most meaningful thing you ever did. You spent 20 years taking lives to survive. You spent your last 3 months giving life to someone who'd forgotten how to want it. That's redemption, Changmin. That's humanity. That's love. I'm gonna keep building, keep saving, keep turning our story into something that prevents others from drowning. And maybe, someday, when my time comes, I'll see you again. Until then, I'm living. For both of us. With love, Janelle. She folded the letter, placed it with the others she'd written over the past 2 years. Then she stood, walked to the window. Below, Busan sprawled in lights and shadows, a city that had tried to kill her, imprison her, and ultimately save her. Somewhere in those shadows, people were drowning. Tomorrow, she'd find them. Tonight, she'd rest. Because surviving wasn't enough anymore. She was living, and that made all the difference. And that's the story of how a homeless girl and a dying mafia boss learned that power means nothing without humanity, and survival means nothing without choice. If this story moved you, if it made you think about what you'd sacrifice for the people you love, then please subscribe to the channel, share this story, and comment below, what would you have chosen? We have more stories coming that will challenge everything you believe about love, power, and redemption. Stories about people who chose to be human even when it cost them everything. Click the next video on your screen now. Because the best stories are the ones that remind us we're all capable of both cruelty and grace, and our choices determine which one defines us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And remember, sometimes the greatest power is choosing to be powerless. Sometimes the truest freedom is choosing to stay. And sometimes the only way to save someone is to love them enough to let them go. See you in the next one.